Testing. Okay, I think we have sound. Rachie, can you hear me? Please let me know in the chat. But welcome. Always awesome to have you here, Rachie. And it's gonna be a fire show. Let's get Taye in here. Let's just get Taye in here. While we wait for Taye to join us. Let me do this. Taye. Let's drop him this invite. Awesome, Rachie. Glad to have you. So, Rachie, I'm sure you've done your wrap-up. What does your wrap-up look? Fuzzy! Man, I missed you last week. I don't think you were with us last week. Fuzzy, missed you. Glad to have you on board. Yeah, man. Always a pleasure. You guys are the reason why we do this. Okay, let me get this African in here. Let me get Taye in here. God damn it. But tell me, what does your wrap-up look like? Can me and Fuzz... Yeah. Can me and Fuzz... Dash corporate... Yeah. Rachie, please do. All corporate bashing is welcome on this podcast. That's what we specialize in. But because we're fair, we like to have corpo lovers on here so that they can defend corpo, like Taye. But what do you guys think? Like, what is your actually, let me ask you this question, guys. What is your most played platform this year? Since we're talking about ecosystems and all this bullshit, and we all know who no-showed their wrap-ups this year. So what is your most played platform? Where are your most achievements, your most games played? Surprisingly, this is the first year since I've been gaming for the last 15 years that most of my gameplay did not happen on Xbox. Imagine that. I want to hear from you guys. Fuzzy, Rachie? On the intro, I'm just trying to get dude in here. So let's see if we can get Taye into this conversation. Oh, there he is. He's in the stream. There we go. Got him.
It's popping, everybody.
Taye.
It's popping, everybody.
What up?
I think there's an echo in the background.
There's an echo in the background.
Really?
Yeah, there is. When I speak. I think it's gone. Yeah, no, it's there.
Your background. Okay, let me just see if it's my sound. Echo cancellation. Okay, my echo cancellation is over. How's it now?
Let me see.
See.
No, it's kind of there. Is it me or is you?
Is it me or is it you?
That I'm
I
hearing
don't
repeats.
know.
Like I'm hearing repeats.
But I
No,
have
I'm not sure. Eh?
But I have like.
Well, your sound is coming across perfectly to me, and I'm not getting
Is it
any
really?
echoes.
Is it really?
Yeah. No, I'm not having issues with your sound.
Well, Rachel, you let me know. Can you hear?
Well,
Like,
Rachel,
when I
you let me
speak,
know. Can you hear?
is there
When
like
I speak,
a double
is there
speak
like
going on?
double speak going on?
Huh.
Maybe it might be. Maybe I should even join
That is.
again.
Maybe I should even join again.
I'll do that. Yeah. See if that works.
I do not hear nothing. No, dude, like nothing on my side. That's how the regular guys in the chat. Please let us know. Is there any sort of like weird echo going on? But anyways, while Tai fixes his speaker, I wanted us to start off the show in a little bit of like, yeah, let's hit the road running. So speaking of wrap ups, so I'm just having a look here. So Raichi says he's got 250 hours in Helldivers. That's pretty awesome. Look, I tried to play Helldivers. I like, look, my bro bought it for me, and I just need to just get to it. Like, the biggest thing that was bothering me about Helldivers was the file size. However, I think the file size, I resolved my problem with the file. Well, I didn't resolve it, but they did make the game far smaller or far short by, well, yeah, the file size far smaller. So it's, you know, it's no longer a burden on your hard drive to actually play it. So Reiji, happy to join you in a raid sometime. I'll just send me. Yeah, like, actually, what's your is it, how did they use your, what is it called, your handle on Steam as well? Send me your handle, I'll invite you. So what else do we have? I can hear two. Thank you. Two handsome men entire side. Okay, cool. So it is a Thai issue. And then Rachel, you also said surprisingly, I played 33% on PC, PS, and Xbox. Oh wow! So you have almost like a perfect split. Chinese gotcha on PS, Game Pass on Xbox and PC. Okay, gotcha. Okay, that's a healthy amount. That's a decent and healthy amount. I think Tai is back. Tai, I think according to Reichi, it's something on your side. Just see what's up. Because I can't hear anything, to be honest with you. Everything sounds hundreds on my side. Okay, Fuzzy says, True Achievement says, most played game this year was Grounded. Wow, Fuzzy, Grounded. Like, look, I finished Grounded like 2 years ago. Tai, now you're silent. Like, is your sound on? Can you hear us? I don't know what that means. What does this mean? What is this? Okay, like I hear nothing. I can't hear anything from your side, Tai. Okay, so Tai will join shortly. Well, Tai is joining us. Not at home. The friend code changes every time. Which friend code are you talking about? Oh, you're talking about Okay, no, that was Fuzzy that played Grounded. Okay, so sorry, Reichi, is the echo on my side or on Tai's side? Mr. Tox? Oh, jeez. This man, like, my man, like, where's your sound at? I can't hear you, like, at all, bro. Yeah, so Reichi says it's you. Tai, right now I can't hear. Yeah. So I can't hear you as well, hey? Like, we have no sound. What did you plug in that you didn't plug in last time? That's always the easiest place to start. Is like, what did you do? So while Taye is fiddling with his sound, I wanted to actually share something with you guys just to get us started on today's topics. So today I wanted just to talk about some of the movie stuff and some of the Hollywood stuff that's happening for us when it comes to gaming. Who's checking out the Fallout series? What did you guys think of the first season? Raichi, Fuzzy, like, did you guys enjoy the last or the first season of of, of of Fallout? I loved it. Like, to me, that was it was unexpected. I thought they would, muck it up, but when I saw that it was the dudes that made or that worked on that show on HBO about the Cowboys, god damn it, now I'm forgetting it. But when I saw it was those dudes, I was like, wow, they're pretty competent, showrunners. And lo and behold, the show was awesome. I loved every single thing about it. Having Walton Goggins in anything, you got me. Dude is fucking, he's amazing. Yeah, so what did you guys think? I hope you enjoyed the first season because I'm really looking forward to the second season. And also coming out, we have Street Fighter. Street Fighter. You guys saw the trailer. You saw the cast, including probably trending comedian Andrew Schultz and that shot he took at Mortal Kombat, which I thought was cool. What did you guys think? A little bit too much? I didn't think it was too much. I think some friendly banter is always it's always good cause for the day. And also let's go back to that Mortal Kombat trailer that everybody loved with Carl Urban. We're gonna check that out, and we're just gonna talk about, like, what are you most looking forward to? What do you think about, like, for instance, the state of movie games? Are we seeing a significant improvement in Hollywood? Maybe taking it seriously. I've heard a lot of people in the industry start to say things like, well, movie games are the next comic book movie genre. That's where everybody's gonna start putting money into. Which that's awesome for us, but it's not like for like. Like with comics, there's almost like a, like it's Marvel, it's DC, it's very streamlined. Games, not so much, unless you're gonna focus on a specific series from a specific company, like the Mario games, and then you add Donkey Kong and all that there. So we're gonna see. We will see. But, like, I want to know what you guys are excited about when it comes to this. But, like, I think let me queue up the first video. Where's Ty? Let's see if I can't find him. Did he send me a message? No, I see nothing. Let's see what he's on. Okay, maybe he's still struggling with his sound. Okay, so let's cue this up. Let's go to the first video, and then we shall discuss. Before we hit the trailers, should we start with the trailers? Yeah, let's start with the trailers. Let's start with this one. I think this one, I would love to get everybody's opinion on this one. So this is the up and coming Mario Brothers. Daye, my man. I still can't hear you. Eh? There you go. There you go. Whatever you did, there was sound.
This is not my mic. This is the. It's not my mic. It's the microphone for the camera. So it's pretty crappy.
Is it? Okay, but I mean, like, that means that you need a new mic. Now your mic it's served its time. It's time up. I think your mic has seen better days. So
but you see,
Richie
that's the
says
thing. It
there's
was
an
working
echo.
before. Like when I
Yeah,
signed
well,
in.
Richie says there's an echo.
Yeah, now there's an echo.
Well, huh?
Yeah, when I speak, it's double speaking.
Is it? Okay, like I can't hear the echo. Funny enough, like I can't, like, you coming across fine on my side. But like I don't know, like with this app I had issues last week with camera, and for some reason I don't understand why. Okay, how's it going now?
Let me see.
Are you able to hear everything working? Okay, cool. So while you figure that out, let's check this out. Let's check the first video out. Doom. It's coming out next year.
Hey, big guy!
Oh,
You wanted to see us?
don't move, I'll be right up. Sipping the soup, cleaning the paint. Boodle-doo, boodle-doo. And also trim the bonsai bush. Here we go. Hey, Luigi. What's up, Mario? Behold, I made a masterpiece for Princess Peach. What do you think?
Love the colors!
It's trash.
How dare you look at my masterpiece and say that? I'll burn the skin off your bones! Wow. Sorry about that. That's the old Bowser talking. Still working through my demons, I suppose. Anyway, I need my 8 hours or else I really turn into a monster.
I'm Bowser Jr., and I'm gonna be taking my father now! Princess Rosalina, you're coming with me!
Alrighty. So who's saying this is okay? There's an echo. Fuzzy says there's an echo with the trailer too. Are you hearing an echo? Oh my god, Ty, like you've got no sound again, bro.
Like I can get sound.
Okay, now I can hear you.
This is echoes. I think that.
Huh?
Do you want me to? Do you think it's your side?
Let's see. I'm trying.
You know what? Like we could stream it on my channel, or we could use it on my end. I see if that changes.
We can certainly do that. Bit of a logistic. Let's see.
Yeah, experiment a little bit more because
Reggie says it's on.
I heard all the echoes as well.
Okay, let me just do this. Let's do this. Okay, just before we do that, let me just try one more time. Default speakers. Because there's absolutely nothing else going on here. There should be no other funny echoes. Is there anything running in the background? Sorry, just checking. Everything is closed.
Mm.
Is it still echoing?
Yeah, it is. On my side, I'm double speaking.
Ay, ay, ay. I don't know, Raichi. Is anyone interested in that? Okay, let me leave and come back. All right, let's do that. So Ty, while I'm gone, maybe just talk about like your. I don't know if you have a wrap up, but like what your wrap up has been looking like for the year and where you played your most games. I'm gonna leave and I'm gonna come back. I'm actually just gonna kick myself out.
The whole thing needs to be shut down.
Huh?
I don't think you leaving is gonna fix it. I think the whole thing needs to be shut down. Oh wow, he just dropped while I was speaking. And I don't know if you guys can hear me. Can you guys hear me? I mean, let me go to the chat. See if y'all can hear me. Oh, okay, that's still working. Anyone buying the Divinity bundle? No, I am not buying the Can you guys even hear? Yeah, I think you guys can't hear me. Oh yeah, you guys can. No, I'm not buying the Divinity bundle. I have the Divinity Original Sin 2, and man, that game is it's really good. But it's a little bit complicated. It's one of those ones where you need to, keep your eyes on all the inventory, all the stats. So if you drop it and then you try to go back to it, oof, that's a tough one. And I dropped it a few times, and going back was even worse. Like, not worse because the game is bad, but just a little more trickier. So I will be buying it. I'm looking forward to Divinity Original Sin 3. Sorry about that. I don't even know where this music is coming from. Yeah. Okay, I think it's gone now. Sorry about that. Let's go to. Okay. I don't know how to make it go away, so I've just muted the microphone. Oh, Others is back. I should say something.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so is there any sort of like noise in the background?
As soon as you came back in, the echo. Wait, are you playing through a speaker?
Let me see. Yeah, there is. Yeah.
No, don't
Because
do
I'm using
that.
my desktop.
You have to use your earphones.
Must I put headsets? Oh Jesus!
Yeah, you gotta use that. Yeah, that's been the problem, bro. I don't know why my mic is working. That's the weird part. It's the tricky part. Maybe that's what did Fuzzy say. I didn't really like what I played of, but it doesn't seem to interest me in a ton right now. I want to give it another shot though. Yeah. Yeah. I think you can play with the same too, so you can take it out.
Something there? I can't hear you.
You can't hear me.
Again?
Can you hear me now? I just has really bad tech issues, man. This is crazy.
Oh no.
What'd you do?
Oh jeez.
We apologize for the tech issue, boys and girls. This was completely unanticipated. Unanticipated. Okay.
Okay.
We can hear him.
Again.
Can you hear us?
How is it now?
Yeah, it's good. But can you hear us?
Oh jeez. Now I can't hear you at all.
Okay, maybe this pod isn't meant to go on today then. Just too many
Audio
signs.
input. There we go.
Excuse me.
Sorry guys, we're having a little bit of technical difficulty. We will be with you shortly, but I think I've figured out what the issue is. Let's take this out.
Sorry?
Testing. There we go. I think we should be good with sound. Communication device. Speakers. Let's do this. Okay, I know we should be good. Ty, can you... Okay, wait.
Yeah, I can hear you, but I don't know if you can hear me.
Yeah, I can hear you. So is the echo gone?
The echo's gone, yeah.
Yeah, fuck. So, anyways, I'll explain later. I know exactly what happened. So I told you, Mos, I just got a new camera setup, and I also got like a new mic. So what was happening for some reason is in the options, the camera's mic was on and not my actual microphone. So that is why. And I'm sure my sound sounds different as well, man.
Yeah, it sounds good.
All right, cool. Okay, cool. So let's get the show back on the road. So I was still asking you, so what does your wrap-up look like while we get this restabilized? What does your wrap-up look like so far?
My wrap-up.
Yeah, did you check your wrap-up anyway?
Well, no, because my wrap-up is primarily Xbox, and Xbox didn't do a wrap-up, remember? They weren't interested.
Well, I can tell you where to check out your Xbox wrap-up. You need to sign up to... True Achievements will help you out. Good to know. Aside from True Achievements, I don't think anyone else does it as comprehensively as them. And on Steam, you barely play anything anyway. So, did you have anything? Did you check out your Steam wrap up?
No, none of us. I mean, I don't play games on Steam. Like, I really don't play much at all, to be honest. So, the wrap up was completely irrelevant, talking point to me. I think it should have been nice. They should have done it. By the same time, if you're taking the budget for that, you're gonna apply it to a different reach, to a different. Apply it for next year. And next year's the 2026 anniversary. It's gonna be big. It's gonna be huge. Then yeah, I mean, okay, I get it. No harm.
Okay, so going forward though, like in the future, what is gonna be your preferred platform? Is it still gonna be Xbox?
It's gonna be the hybrid PC. And that's gonna entail Xbox. Steam is on there. I'll probably start buying things from Steam because all I care about the library. I'm not curious about the ecosystem. If I can access anything I want to access in the easier packet, then I will take it. I think the Xbox hybrid is going to give you that with PC gaming, console gaming, etc., etc.
So what did you play on your Xbox PC then, since you are an advocate of Xbox?
It doesn't exist yet, bro.
What do you mean? Xbox PC exists, bro. That's what the app is. It's Xbox PC.
Oh, you mean the Xbox PC? I played Alters.
Yes,
The Alters was
not the hybrid, the PC.
Yo, the Alters.
Is that what you were playing on Xbox? Is that like part of your wrap up? So I'll share my wrap up, guys. If you have links to your wrap up, please share it in the chat. Happy to go check it out and share it in the group. Sorry, not the group. Sorry, share it in the whatchamacallit. In the overall discussion. I'll see if I can't share it on screen. Let's get some more light in here. All right. So before all these issues, I wanted to share something. Okay, let's see. Oh yes, before I go on, so I wanted to know. So are you interested and excited in the Super Mario movie?
You're not going to me now. Sorry. I thought you were going
Yes,
to
I'm
the
asking
crowd.
you.
Am I
No, well, I've already
yes,
asked the
I'm
question
interested.
to everyone.
Sorry, I was trying to obviously still trying to fix my mic, my main mic, not this crappy one.
No,
But
no
yeah,
problem.
no, it looked really good. I don't know how Bowser
Yeah.
ended up in that little small castle cage, but he's there.
Yeah, because I saw the last movie. I don't remember that happening.
yeah, I didn't
I
see the
don't
last
remember
movie.
anything.
It seems like they're just kind of like they got tired of his bullshit. So it's a good story because he's trapped. His kids come to rescue him. Like voila, that makes sense.
Okay. I don't know how I like. Look, I'm a huge Mario fan. I love Super Mario. I saw the last movie, but like, I really think those movies are marketed at kids. Like, I'm also a Chris Pratt fan. So, yeah, like it was. I can't remember much about it except like some of the notable voice actors and the 1-2 scenes they had. So, to me, it's not really a movie more than just a time waster. With if you have something to do for kids or with kids. I'm not really that pumped up about the sequel. I think Sonic, in terms of story, had a little bit more. Even though I don't like the human bits of the story, but I still think they tried a little bit more stuff with Sonic. And I think Sonic again just gets overshadowed because it did about 500. I think it did almost 500 million. Did well enough, did good, but it's not gonna do Super Mario numbers, which is unfair. Well, which sucks, I suppose.
Yeah, true.
Sega always been Nintendo's shadow, I suppose.
Nintendo has the marketing power.
Absolutely, and of course now they're working with the likes of Universal, which means that they really have a very huge sort of like I would say roadmap going forward in terms of like movies because Zelda's coming up, also from Universal. I'm a bit worried about that because it's live action, but we'll see how they pull it off. So while we are still talking about movie games, then of course, and I'm gonna play them in the order that they appeared. I think the Super Mario Galaxy movie trailer was first, then it was the Mortal Kombat 2 trailer. Did you see that one, Tai?
I did. You're referencing the. Sorry, which one are you referencing again?
The Mortal Kombat 2 trailer, specifically.
Yeah. No, I didn't actually. When I think about it, the Street Fighter trailer, yes.
So there were two trailers for Mortal Kombat. Actually, let's play them in order because I was gonna play. I thought you saw the first one, so I'm gonna play the first one, and then we'll play the second.
I'm sorry if I'm not responding like as sharp as I should. It's just because I'm still trying to fix the microphone, so I'm testing the.
No, I think you're fine. I think I think primarily the problem was me because like I was using it literally was picking up the sound from my camera. But okay, cool. So let me play this and then you let me know. So this one, just to give everybody context, so this was the first teaser trailer, which was the Uncaged trailer for his B movies that Johnny Cage does in universe. So this was a little bit of meta stuff. Pretty cool. Let's check it out. I don't know what you're talking about. We had a good Jim Carrey movie. Which Jim Carrey? Oh, you mean Sonic? Yes, Sonic is good, right? But the thing is, it just doesn't get the same sort of love that Mario does. Rachie, yes, I was talking about Sonic. Sonic. Okay, let's get MK2 up in here.
From New Line Cinema, the studio that brought you Cool Hand Cage, Hard to Cage, and Rebel Without a Cage.
I'm such a mark. Sorry, guys. I'm such a mark. If you guys remember back in the day, I'm sure you'll remember. Was it Orion Pictures and what was the other one? It was Orion Pictures and forgot the other one. But like they used to make all these B movies. Of course, you know, New Line Cinema later did with like the Nightmare on Elm Street series as well. But I loved these. And the trailers always were like this. When you go to cinema to watch that, what we would call in gaming double A or that B movie, this is the sort of cheese that you would get. Fucking amazing stuff. So nostalgic. Sorry.
Cage comes Uncaged Fury, starring Johnny Cage.
It's showtime.
They pissed him off. They fucked with his shades. They should have brought more guys.
You should have brought more guys.
Uncaged Fury. Coming to a theater near you this October.
All right, so yeah, what are your thoughts, guys? Like Raichi, Fuzzy, what are your thoughts? So I love this type of stuff. I live for this. This is cinema to me. Like, especially being a kid of the 80s and the 90s and the early 90s. These are the movies that really sort of like, you know, did something for me. So what did you guys think? I think they really leaving a lot of money on the table here and not doing like a Netflix original mini-series, like low budget series that has all this Johnny Cage stuff. Even release just as promotional material, bro. Release these freaking 15 maybe 15 to 30 minute Johnny Cage movies on like on Netflix or something, or on it's of course it's Warner Brothers. Release it on freaking HBO Max. I think that shit would be so dope, man. Loved this, love it. I want to know what you guys think about this whole 90s type of presentation. So this was the first trailer. This was like the teaser to Mortal Kombat. So again, what I just want to understand is like, how excited are you guys for gaming related? I hate the word content. Gaming related entertainment coming in late 2005, because Fallout is out, and I hope you guys are checking that out. Let's say 2025 and beyond. What are you guys excited about? Do you like the direction that, you know, I think Hollywood is taking gaming a little bit more seriously than it did before. Let's see how the Fallout. Who's started watching the Fallout show, guys? Raichi, Fuzzy, have you guys started? Tai, are you guys watching? Tai, I have you on. I don't know if your sound is off or something, but like, you'll let me know. Yeah, like, how excited are you guys for all the new stuff that's coming out when it comes to movie games? I've got another. Okay, so let's watch the second trailer for MK. So this is the official trailer. This is the actual trailer, not one of these mock trailers. Taya, I can hear you.
From New Line Cinema, the studio that brought you Cool Hand Cage, Hard to Cage, and Rebel Without a Cage, comes.
No, not this one. There we go. Should be this one. Dose. Time?
Uno mas.
You're Johnny Cage. I was Citizen Cage when I was a kid.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
They should do a reboot.
Nobody wants that. That went out in the 90s.
Johnny Cage, you have been chosen to fight.
Tell me you're not some crazy fans. How are you doing that?
Are you coming or what?
I'll be honest, I wasn't sold on Cole Urban being Johnny Cage. I just think That's not the. I would have chosen him as striker more than I would have chosen him as Johnny Cage. But he just has so much charisma. I think he can make any role work. Cause like like Johnny Cage is supposed to be like your pretty boy type guy. Like I picture, who'd make the perfect Johnny Cage if I was casting? It would be the dude that's also in The Boys, Jensen Ackles. That's who I would cast as Johnny Cage. But this works. I mean, Carl Urban is as charismatic as they come.
Where the hell am I?
It's a fighting tournament. To the death.
That's got to be against the rules. Can't just go around killing people.
It's called Mortal Kombat for a reason.
This is a war for the fate of your world.
You guys in or what? I'm not some champion. I don't have transformer arms. Or shoot lightning bolts. This has got nothing to do with me. I'm an actor.
I find you annoying.
Not the face.
I won't lie. I want them to fix fucking Baraka's mouth. Like I don't know what the fuck is going on with his grill. There's just like you could really make this stuff a little bit more gripping and not so cartoony. To me, this was the weakest part of the trailer.
It's time to become the hero you were meant to be. All right, you big ugly freak. It's showtime. Get over here!
Only the strong survive.
Are you kidding me? You don't have any powers?
Just incredibly handsome.
Kano's back. Awesomeness. So Fuzzy says, I'm all caught up with Fallout. Okay, cool. So I'm gonna wait until the whole season is out, then I'll watch Fallout. Ty, did you see this trailer? What were your thoughts?
Sorry, man. I was away. I messaged on the chat that I gone. But was it the Mortal Kombat one where Johnny was, fighting?
Yebo. That was the one, yes.
Yeah, no, I didn't catch the whole thing. I've seen a bit of it, but I won't catch the whole thing. I guess my question to you is, does it look better than Street Fighter?
I'm gonna play the Street Fighter one next, and the quick answer is yes, absolutely.
Okay, yeah.
Let's play it again, guys. If you don't mind, let's play it again.
No. What we can do is you play the Street Fighter one because I've already seen it, and I'll play the Mortal Kombat one right here, like in a separate tab.
Okay. All right. Alrighty. So let me do that quickly. So I just to answer your question, I thought the Mortal Kombat one was far more superior. Mm-hmm. It positions the story in a way that we understand what's happening and like how it's set up. The special effects or the visual effects look good. Everything looks very Mortal Kombat. It looks very faithful to the adaptation. The Street Fighter one, I don't know. There was something wrong with the choreography. I thought something was a little bit awful goofy, but let's watch it again. Maybe I was wrong, but something just rubbed me the wrong way with the Street Fighter trailer. Where is it? Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, Star Wars, the Street Fighter 6. Okay, let me get this one up here. Street Fighter. Yeah, so that is the only thing with the Street Fighter one. I thought, it seemed a little bit off. Street Fighter. Where is it? Where's the trailer? Oh, here it is. Okay. Let's go to the trailer. I like the music. That's the best thing I would say that stood out for me in the Street Fighter logo. Was the music more than anything else. The choreography was so.
Uno mas.
What's this one? That should be this one. So I like this music. Something about this music is really cool, and I hope we see more of this energy from this track in the film. The costumes look cheap as fuck as well. Like, look, I'm not trying to hate on this, but like, the characters look fine. I have no problem with them, but there's just something about the costumes looking very Netflixy that I don't like. But the aesthetics look right, but there's a lack of grit here. So the blonde guy you saw shadow boxing there, Taya, I don't know if you remember the original Street Fighter. Do you remember the two guys that are busy like facing off
in the background?
And then the one does the punch, and then it scrolls up. Apparently, it's this guy. According to some people who know something, this guy is that guy. He's
like an Easter egg.
Yeah, he's like the Easter egg. He's like the guy that's having that fight outside when you start up the arcade. So that's pretty cool. I like that.
That's pretty good, yeah.
This is hot. I don't know if that in concept, there's a lot of shit I like there, but like I just feel that the execution might be shit. The one thing I want to do is to look up who's the director. I think knowing who the director is will sort of tell me how well this will go. So I'm a bit skeptical, but like I'm cautiously optimistic. Do you have any thoughts about the Street Fighter movie?
I think with the Street Fighter one, because I just watched the Mortal Kombat one, right, and it seems like it's more in line with what I would want to watch, the Mortal Kombat one anyway.
Yeah.
It looks good, it looks efficient, whereas the Street Fighter one looks, as you kind of said, it cheapish, very Netflix-like or whatever. However, what I will say is that the Mortal Kombat one, it's trying to be, I don't want to say realistic, but it know what it wants to be. The problem is when you kind of go for that, you don't have something else to fall back on if it doesn't work out well. Is the choreographic going to be amazing? I don't think so. Is the acting going to be like superb, like amazing acting that blows you away? I don't necessarily think so. So what does it have? Well, as a package, it could easily be maybe a 7 out of 10, max 8 out of 10, but probably 7 out of 10, right? Just as a package. However, Street Fighter might be worse in every aspect in terms of acting, music, choreography, all these things, yeah. But what could save Street Fighter is that it knows what it wants to be. It's supposed to be goofy. It's supposed to be comedic. It's gonna make you want. It's gonna make you laugh. It's gonna have some kind of charm in it that's gonna allow you to waive those problems. So I do think Street Fighter knows, Street Fighter could probably actually do better than Mortal Kombat, just obviously by brand name alone as well, right? And I think probably do well. It's enough in Japan. It's a bigger name when it comes to the fighting spaces. The only thing I would say about Street Fighter that's a bit iffy is they have so many characters. How are they going to fit them into one? I'm guessing it's going to be like, okay, well, these are 2 or 3 characters fighting, and you just kind of fight them off and beat them, as opposed to they're the main characters or they have a lot of dialogue in the game. So it's just going to be a couple of words and then they get taken out. X, Y, very simple stuff.
Yeah, but I mean, like Mortal Kombat, you could say the same thing. Mortal Kombat also has a lot of characters on their roster.
Didn't they focus solely on just Scorpion, Sub-Zero, and like 2 other characters or something like that? Like I didn't watch it, so I can't actually comment.
Which one, Mortal Kombat or Street Fighter?
Mortal Kombat.
Mortal Kombat. Well, yeah. The thing is, they sort of with Mortal Kombat, it's almost like a roaming roster in the sense that like every scene sort of has specific characters that are like relevant or significant to that scene, and then they move to another area, and then but they try and include as many of those. It won't feature all the characters, but like remember, in the tournament, they still have to fight. Or a lot of the characters still have to sort of like get into those engagements or into those fights. So I don't remember in the first movie. I didn't really like it much. I'm not talking about the original Mortal Kombat movie from '95. I'm talking about the one they released like a couple of years ago. But they had, I would say, at least 10 characters from the game. So it's still a sizable roster of characters.
Okay,
So
fair enough.
Street Fight, like, so I think they're like for like, because they both have like, and again, the Marvel universe has sort of shown us that you can do a lot of characters into one thing. It's just the execution. I just wonder how they're gonna do this, because what people don't know is that a lot of these movies are based on a lot of these games are based on like 90s movies, B movies, like Best of the Best. What was the other one with Van Damme? Was it Kickboxer? Was it Kickboxer? I think it was something like that. So like these have been done before, so you can do a movie like this. But the thing is, you're always focusing on the Van Damme character in those type of films. When you have like 5 to 10 Van Damme characters, maybe it becomes a little bit tricky to manage it. But look, it's possible. Like you can pull this off, but it's just a matter of like how well do you focus on the story and you balance that with the number of characters that you have in the story.
Fair enough.
Cool. So another thing. Let's see. I think there was one more before we move on to the next topic. So the next topics I want us to talk about is just everyone's wrap up. And thanks guys for engaging in the chat. Always a fucking pleasure to have you on. Let us see. What is else? Let's see. So I did the Mortal Kombat. So I wanted to talk about this since we're talking about wrap-ups as well, Tai, and I just wanted to get your thoughts on this. I think I did share this with you.
The Xbox wrap-up?
Not the Xbox wrap-up.
There has been no death of the Xbox console, despite what people say. 'Cause I've been talking with John about it a few times, but like the last 2 quarters before the Activision deal, they were the top-selling console globally. And then they just stopped making them because they hit all their growth targets, and then everything swapped to margin targets. That was it.
Oh, it's crazy.
Got that?
Yeah, but I don't think that's true though. I think globally is a bit of a stretch. I'm not sure where he came up with that. And the question is, if they were doing that globally, why would they stop? Because of margins? No, I don't think so.
No, like so you are right. He's incorrect when he says globally. He's talking about America. In America, for like the 3 quarters, I think ending 2002, sorry, 2022, they had that that advantage. Not globally. Globally is much more complex because in Asia they're almost non-existent. In Europe they were starting to carve out certain, I would say, specific regions. But America is a stronghold, which is the most significant part of the gaming market anyway. You dominate America, your console is relevant. Like that's how the 360 ended up, dominating as long as it did before Sony eventually took that market share back. So, but what I'm saying is that like he's right about in America where it matters the most, I suppose.
Well, I disagree, but they didn't give up. Like, make it seem like they gave up. Like the market just didn't go their way. Hello?
Yeah, he's not saying they gave up. He's saying that they changed, which is what I've been saying to you, is that they pivoted or they changed their what does he say specifically? But basically, how they measure their success, they changed, which Xbox does regularly. This is why I say to you, like, to me, how Xbox succeed is such a weird thing that's like up in the air. Nobody really knows
globally. And then they just stopped making them because they hit all their growth targets, and then everything.
So he talks about they were like focusing on growth targets, which was okay. We want to grow the business up until this point. He says then they shifted, and this would be a nice conversation to dive deep into. I would love to actually have this guy unpack this because I think this is a very significant.
Thing swap the margin targets.
So there you go. So he basically says that they went from growth targets to margin targets, which from a business perspective makes total sense to me if you look at how much everything has changed. They're not trying to grow the hardware business anymore. Now they're targeting specifically, I would say, whatever it is, whatever those margin targets are. But like now it's a very specific thing that they target as to, you know, how they measure their success within the Xbox business. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, but the reason why I don't
that was it.
consider that is because my question would be, what did they like? Okay, they switched to margin targets. What does that entail? What material change did they do that ended up affecting the console? Because they're already putting out games on PC, so it can't be that. Game Pass already existed, so it can't be that. Like, what did they do? Did they reach out to suppliers and did they go to their marketing guys and say, "Yo, stop marketing the Xbox console"? So was there a reduction in marketing for the Xbox consoles? Did they go to retailers and say, "Hey, listen, normally we give you guys 100K Xboxes on a regular basis. Now we're gonna do 20K because nobody want to sell the Xboxes anymore." Like, what are the material changes that occurred that we can say, "Oh yeah, they did switch"? Because he's just saying they switched. It's like, well, he's just saying like they switched this. I'm like, okay, why? How? Actually, I think you're muted.
Sorry, yeah. So I'm saying he's saying that based on the data. So like again, like this whole conversation, just to give you context. Yeah, go ahead.
No. Which data is he looking at?
So basically, he's looking at like the recent market data. This whole conversation came about with the 70% drop in Xbox sales in November year on year. And again, like what I always say to people is that like for 3 quarters, not for 3 quarters, for 3 years, I think, like the hardware has been down like 29% to 30% year on year. So, but what he's saying is basically that the sentiment out there is that people don't need or people don't care about Xbox hardware. And what he's rebutting is that like, no, it's not a matter of people don't care or want Xbox hardware. It's not that there's a lack of demand for Xbox hardware. It's that Microsoft just no longer considers putting hardware out there part of their success metrics. Actually reducing the amount of stock that they put in, which is true. They're putting out less Xbox Series, and everybody, even Digital Foundry, agrees with this. Is that they're not breaking an arm and a leg, and you even agree with this, to put more Xboxes out there. Because if they did, they would cut the price, they would be competitive, etc., etc. So basically, what he's saying is that they're just now selling the stock that they have. They're not trying to be competitive with how they're putting out Xboxes, because it's no longer part of their growth target. They've met that growth target. Now they've shifted to being more focused on all the other stuff that you talk about, and making sure that they shift more software, etc., etc., etc.
Yeah, but my question would be like, and now that could be true, but I think that statement sounds more true in 2024-ish and 5. But it looks like he's saying this happened in 2022 or 2023, right?
He's saying that it happened in. Well, he's talking about like what's happening now.
Yeah, but like he's saying like, well, because when he says, well, they were on top of the Xbox, in terms of console sold out of everyone else, it was them leading. It's like, okay, in the United States, they were leading. Fair enough. When?
Yeah.
2022, 2023. And then when he says like, well, they shifted to margin growth, is okay. So are you saying that the reason why the consoles stopped selling is because they reached the amount of consoles they wanted to sell, and then they did something materially? Okay, but then my question is, what is that then? Like, he can say margin growth. Like, okay, what does that entail? Where is the
well, I mean, like, okay, but like, Ty, like, if you look at like their focus currently now, do you think that if they still wanted to move, if you go back, let's say, to 2023, do you think that they would be okay with the fact that, like, well, every single quarter we're losing in terms of like when it comes to selling or hardware, we're down like 30%. I think it started at about 20%, 19%, sorry, and then it went to about 20 something percent. Now it's like 30%, like 30% every quarter, and that compound is about 70%. If you look overall into where we are now, it's about like 70% in terms of like less than the previous year, based on that fundamental. Like, to me, what he's saying makes sense. So what you're asking is, okay, cool. So how do you where's the evidence for that? The evidence for that is because of the fact that, like, aren't you the one that also purports the fact that, like, well, most of their growth is in cloud. That's where they're making most of it. That is where these margins are now focused on. Is those margins are now focused on things like cloud. They focus on the publishing business, etc., versus the hardware business. I think it's self-explanatory.
Okay. Yes.
I mean, am I not making sense?
No. I agree with all that statement. I agree with everything you've said in terms of this is happening now, right? And it just seems like, can you play his video again, like that comment?
Yeah. So this guy is basically, okay, I will, but he's basically responding to the current market conditions in terms of sales, like how Xbox is doing so significantly worse than Sony and Nintendo when it comes to selling hardware.
There has been no death of the Xbox console.
So
Despite
let's start there. So he says there has been no death of the Xbox console. So saying it's not that the users don't want Xboxes, it's that Microsoft is not producing Xboxes to sell to users.
Mm-hmm.
And if they are, they're not making it lucrative enough for a user to want an Xbox. Whether it's the price hikes and all these other things that make it very uncompetitive, including not having things like sales when everybody else is putting on Black Friday and all that stuff, sales. They don't have none of that stuff. Like, the Xbox has been sold at a price like that is fixed, and it's an asshole price. If you don't want to pay the Xbox price, you're not going to own an Xbox. Mm-hmm. So what he's basically saying is that Xbox as a console being uncompetitive in the market has nothing to do with people not wanting it. It's to do with Microsoft's control of supply.
what people say, because I've been talking with John about it a few times, but like the last 2 quarters before the Activision deal, they were the top selling console globally. And
this is where he's wrong. Not globally, in America. In America, they were the top, and they had that for a very long time. And we had this conversation as well in regards to the fact that when the shortages were there, they played a significant part in that, in Xbox not being able to shift, Sony not being able to ship as many PlayStation 5s, which gave the Series X and S a competitive advantage.
Mm-hmm.
But at some point in time, that stopped. They just stopped producing enough. And I remember this is because there was a time around 2023 where there was a shortage now of Xbox One consoles, Xbox Series X consoles.
Mm-hmm. True.
Okay, let's continue.
And then they just stopped making them because they hit all their growth targets, and then everything swapped to margin targets. That was it.
Oh, it's crazy.
So he said that the 2 quarters before the Activision Blizzard deal, I'm guessing he doesn't mean close. He means when it was initiated. So that will make an Xbox made the intentions to buy ABK in 2022. So really, he's saying that, well, back in 2021, Xbox Series X and S was the best selling. In fact, it could actually be the best selling console worldwide. Yes. He actually might be right.
2021, 2022, yes, in America.
Yeah. So yeah, but then he's basically saying like that is like around 2022. to early 2023, around 2022, they decided we don't want to sell consoles anymore. So let's do things and focus on profits. Let's focus on profit margins, I suppose.
Yes, growth margins, as you
So
say.
he's saying
Sorry, not
so
growth
that
margins, profit margins. I
so that
can't
happened
remember what
around
he said.
2020. So 2022, they didn't want to sell consoles anymore.
Well, he doesn't give timelines, but like basically he's saying like his entire argument is that like, and again you can use this, and I think focusing on timelines is just gonna sort of bog you down. But basically what he's saying is that there was a shift in the mindset when it comes to Xbox from focusing on growth, which means growing, which you agree with. I don't know why you argue with this point. They no longer care about growing the console market. That's what he's saying. Is they stopped focusing on growing and putting out more Xboxes there competitively because they want to grow in every other area where the margins are.
But you see, what I would have said though is a little bit different. I would have said that due to the consoles not doing well and failing, they did a pivot. He's saying that they didn't. The console wasn't not failing.
No, he's saying the opposite of what you're saying.
Yeah, exactly.
He's saying there was no failure, like they were not selling. He's saying that them not selling hardware is artificially it's got nothing to do with them not being able to. The demand was there, but Microsoft just stopped producing or producing competitively, which I agree with it fully.
Yeah, no, I see. I think the data are important because if all he's saying is accurate, then it means that like the reason why the Xbox consoles are not selling well is because Xbox chose it for it to not sell well. Whereas I'm saying that the consoles
well,
are
okay, but like
well,
even if
hence the pivots.
Yeah.
Like those are two fundamentally different things.
But
it's like saying that but to be clear, it's like saying Sega became third party because the Dreamcast consoles weren't selling. And everyone would agree there, but this is like him saying that no, the Dreamcast consoles were selling. It's just that Sega didn't want to. They thought it was more profitable to be a third party, so then they canceled the console and they try to make it hard for it to sell.
But that's why Xbox. But like by Phil Spencer's own admission, dude, that's what they're doing. It's not that they can't sell more Xbox consoles; they just don't think it's profitable. Well, not profitable. They don't think that's where the growth is. Like, I mean, you know this, and this is something that me and you have had conversations about. It's got nothing to do, and I've said to you that if they wanted to, they could sell 60 to 80 million Xboxes, but they don't want to. Because to them, hardware is a loss-leading business, and they don't want to be in that business anymore. So are you saying you disagree with that?
I'm saying, yeah, pretty much. I'm saying the reason why they're doing what they're doing.
Okay, so you're saying that you don't see. So you're saying that Microsoft is not purposefully, slowly but surely, just cutting the hardware business. That's not their strategy, to move away from hardware.
No. They are doing that, but they're doing that because the consoles weren't selling.
No, but what he's saying is that like when let me ask you a question. So in your thinking, when is it that they started to look at the consoles and say the consoles aren't selling, so we need to move away from? Do you think it was
around 2023? Around 2023. There was a problem there, and 2024 solidified it.
So, but like that had nothing to do with the consoles not selling. It had to do with the fact that they had no software, and I sent you all those screenshots that explained this. That between 2022 was a brilliant year where they released great games and the hardware was there, and Sony was also suffering from shortages. As a result, they sold in America. They were selling competitively. When they stopped selling competitively in America, is that period where they released no games for almost a year, and the first game that they released after almost a year was Redfall. Mm-hmm. So can we fault the hardware for that and say, well, the hardware was not selling?
No, the software wasn't doing.
And Sony at that time was releasing just bangers.
Yeah, I agree.
So can we say that was the reason? I mean, like as a business person, you understand why your console didn't sell during that period. It's not that you can't sell consoles and people don't want your consoles. It's the fact that you had nothing to play on your consoles that people cared about.
Agreed.
So, like, this is where I don't understand. Is that so? Where's the disconnect here in terms of like, well, they changed strategy.
I'm just looking at the charts a little bit, real quick. Fuzzy says, I don't think they ever had a chance at hitting 60 million console sales this gen. They obviously would have sold a shitload more than they have if they had tried to be more competitive, though.
Yes.
It was 18. I think what I would say here is that at some point they realized that what they were doing just wasn't going to work. They're going to sell less consoles overall in the end, and it wasn't going to lead to anything special. Also, the fact that like the Series X and S were already being sold at a loss. So yeah, they made a strategic shift. I can agree there to focus more on the multi-platform stuff potentially. To stop to increase the console prices due to inflation, and they didn't want to take a loss on it anymore. So their decisions actively hurt the consoles. I agree there. I'm saying the reason why that decision came about is because the consoles weren't doing well in the first place, and they had to make up the numbers and make the margins. I think even Jez might have said it sometimes that it's a higher margin for them to actually just put the consoles in the cloud. Mm-hmm.
So my only question to you, Ty, is like, when did the consoles not start doing well?
I think it was maybe 2022, was it?
No, 2022 was the stellar year. 2022 was their best year.
No, 2023.
2023, the slump in 2023 was self-inflicted. This is my thing, is if you don't release shit, if you're not competitive, and you're competing against number one, like, why are you complaining when you're not reaching the same metrics as number one? You don't have an advantage here as Xbox. You're on the back leg. You need to be freaking breaking your back for the smallest margins. Like, the way they act is they act like, well, you know what, we can afford to have a release cadence that's behind Sony or okay with Sony. I'm like, no, you're not there. You don't have that sort of clout, fam, when it comes to this particular audience. Like, when it comes to the console audience, you don't have that sort of clout. You need to convince us to come to you again. And the way they're acting is that like they have the privilege of comparing their cadence when it comes to sales to Sony, when they don't.
I agree.
So for me,
I
think. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I agree. I agree with things you just said there, yeah.
But anyway, speaking about that, and since we are on, I actually shared this with you, and I thought this was so profound. Since we're talking about Sega and things that could have been, look, I think we can accept the fact that, like, console-wise, when it comes to Xbox, they have transitioned to measuring very different margins, and their metric for success has got very little to do with consoles anymore. It's got to do with games being on multiple platforms, as you have lamented in the past. Them, creating an ecosystem that's PC, that's console, that's mobile, that's everywhere, where everybody can then experience these different games. So I think we've accepted that. I think we've made peace with that. But like, I still feel that there's a holdout of Xbox fanboys that think somehow this is going to. If you are not into Xbox diversifying, then Xbox is not for you, unfortunately. Do you think I'm wrong in saying that, Ty?
If you're not interested in Xbox diversifying,
yeah,
is this a bad thing for you? Yes and no. The answer is, like, I always say this, yeah. The reason, like, what Microsoft is doing with the hybrid is they're kind of ticking off a few boxes here. The people who are complaining are like, well, I'm afraid you're not going to make a next console, another device, because I won't have Game Pass. Okay, cool. We're making a PC hybrid that's going to have Game Pass. I'm afraid that, I'm going to lose my library of games. Well, your library's going to exist on it. Don't worry about it. Well, I'm just afraid. I just like the ecosystem. So you guys are, not kind of different devices going to hurt me. Well, we're making the Xbox PC hybrid, so you guys are still going to get it, and it's also going to be, we're also going to bring in OEMs. So they're kind of addressing all these problems. The only problem that they can't address is somebody saying, Well, it's because of the exclusive games. As far as Microsoft is concerned, you're right. Actually, there's nothing I can do about that. But those exclusive games that you want are just going to be elsewhere. If the problem is somebody else is going to have it, then yeah, you're right. This can't be fixed. But if the problem is, well, I want those exclusive games or these kind of games anyway, like the Gears and the Halo, to be on my Xbox ecosystem platform, etc., etc., then yeah, it will be like 100%. So, is it good for the Xbox fans? Well, they still get their games, yeah, sure. Is it good for the
Yeah, but like, why would an
console
Xbox?
players?
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, what I wanted to find out from you is like, but like, why would you buy Xbox for those experiences? PlayStation offers you those experiences and PlayStation's games that you will not get on an Xbox platform, and you can get them on PC and not get them. You can get these games everywhere else with other games, but without the like. If you buy them, if you choose to buy an Xbox platform for those games, you're still missing out on a lot of other experiences that you won't get anyway.
No, true. But I think
The
Mhm.
only differentiator would then be your hybrid console if it comes for them. That would be the only differentiator where they can say, well, you can just play your Steam games using our hybrid console and the app. So let's see how that. And to me, I'm still not convinced because I don't see how that's gonna work. But like, yeah, that is their only way out. Is if they get that right. If they get that right to get a hybrid console that everybody wants, and it can play Steam games, which means that you can access your PlayStation games library, then yeah, that's the Trojan horse, man. Then that they've done it.
Okay. No, I see what you're saying. They're just and the value of the console has done.
That's done. That's done.
That's
there's
done.
no console.
But is it a good thing? I think the future of Xbox now, here's a way to put it. I think the Xbox platform, or whatever you want to call it, exists because of the application, and I think it exists because of the games. So if Microsoft is getting the application all good and they're getting the games good, then the Xbox will always be alive. The box itself, it's never that important. Exclusives to the box as well is a bit meh. I mean, I get it. I think exclusives. I think they probably should have been exclusive until this gen, but I could see why they probably decided to pivot. I just don't think that it's as important as some people might make it out to be. I think it's a traditional sense that because when things change, people are not happy. People can't really move on from things that they've been used to. So I do think that's what's happening here. People are just not used to it. But in the future, I think everyone's gonna more or less probably be on board, especially when you can just bring in your Xbox application on your phone, laptop, desktop. Boom. Sure, Steam might beat them to it, and then eventually they'll get wiped out. But my arguments here would be they're already going to get wiped out of the console space. Like they already, you might why fail when you can start to pivot earlier and give yourself a better chance of survival.
I have thoughts on a lot of that, but I don't want to get into it. So I know that you wanted to talk about, Colin Moore. I tried to look for it on Twitter. I can't find it. But you shared a tweet with me where Colin Moriarty was talking about the fact that I'm just looking at what you said. The fact that there's 18,000 games on Steam, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So basically, says there's too many studios making too many games for too few consumers. That we have a little time. We have too little time. It's survival of the fittest, and it's at its very essence. The N64 had fewer than 400 games. The PS2 got several thousands. And then he goes on to say that Steam has 18,000. So I have a rebuttal already ready for this because I think it's a nonsense point. It doesn't really make much sense in terms of what he's saying. because he's removing all the context.
Well, what I think the additional context, the additional context that he was trying to go into was that when somebody was talking about, I think it was games and time, and the users have why is maybe games going down? And he just said there's so many games, and the reason why you're seeing these developers lose jobs or whatever is because there's too many of them are making games. There's just not enough eyes. So yeah, that's the additional part. But go on, let me hear your thoughts.
Yeah, but like my first problem with that is that like, what do you mean there's too many games? Like, and then the examples that he uses are totally out of whack. The N64 had 32 million users, right? What does he mention here again? The PS2 had probably about 150 something million users that bought CDs. So accessing or being able to access platforms was very limited back then. You weren't targeting 500 million players potentially on a platform like Steam. You were targeting a very set limit of players, hence your gaming libraries were limited, and the technologies to distribute the games were limited, because you had to do everything via hardware, meaning that you had to sell actual physical copies, which is a completely different ball game altogether. Now you have digital stores where you have to pay no one. You literally have to just pay the guys that make the game, and you take the rest of the money. Whereas you had to deal with retailers. Like, this is literally skipping all the essential steps in the evolution of game distribution, which is why you have 18,000 games on a platform where you can just download the games directly from your PC versus an N64 where you're buying cartridges that cost $60 a pop. Cheapest cartridge from Nintendo, I think, was like $50. So there's no comparison between the two. I think he...
But I don't get what you're really trying to say here, because I think the point here really is that the industry now has too many people making a lot of games. And yeah, that has to do with accessibility, for sure. A lot of, Unreal Engine now, applications out there, people cannot develop. However, that doesn't change the fact that, like, there is way more games available to play for the average person than there was back in the day.
But
Ushers during the
completely
PS1
cutting
era.
out.
Well, Ushers during the PS1 era was limited to maybe a certain amount of games because you had the PS1 and finances and cartridges or discs or whatever it is. Now, when we live in the accessibility period of time, where you can get your games from GOG, Epic. You have engines that allow you, Ushers, to download an application that lets you create games quite fast and cheaply. There's way too many games out there now. That is a problem. I don't know.
No, it's not a problem. I think you guys, I don't even think there's too many games. I think you are completely skewing the numbers. And I'll tell you why. Sorry, I'm just looking up something. I'm just asking Gemini something, right?
Sure.
No. Okay, and it didn't answer. The number. Because I think you're completely off. Like the math makes sense to me, right? In 1998, the concept of gamer was much more narrow than today. While we didn't have a sophisticated global tracking as we do now, historians in the industry estimate that we had roughly 200 million to 400 million people playing video games worldwide, right? This was in... So how many people are playing games today? Let's ask. Sorry, my keyboard is like positioned very funny. Okay, so in 2025, the number of approximate gamers is 3.3 billion to 3.6. So come on, what are we doing here?
Like, what point were you trying to
Where's
say?
the oversupply?
Yeah,
where's the
oversupply of
oversupply?
games.
You've got 3.3 billion freaking gamers, dude. What do you mean there's an oversupply? I mean, if you're saying that like where's the oversupply? Like to me, it means like the market is responding to the number of 3.6 billion. That's almost half of the human population.
The way I okay, wait, hold on. Let's look at it a little bit differently. I think the point here is that when Oshus was, around during the PS1 era, there was a certain amount of games Oshus was willing to play. That game, for argument's sake, let's say that game was 300 games. And those games were quite similar. Metal Gear Solid, Tekken, Street Fighter, Bioshock, etc., etc., etc. There are other games out there, like an additional 1,000 games, but these were crappy games. I just didn't really care about them. Like it is what it is. That's not his market. I think what the comment here is trying to say is that the actual market for Oshus's preference of games, which was, which had 300, that market has now gone from 300 games that Oshus would play
And you're cheating,
to potentially 5,000. So there just isn't enough time. Oshus doesn't have enough time to play all these games.
No. Why, Taye? No, you're cheating. You're cheating because why I'm saying you're cheating is that like I'm no longer the primary gamer. Oshus is a niche gamer now, right? The primary gamer is the casual that you always talk about. So Oshus is like I'm being, sunsetted out. They're gonna have to put me out into the thingy very soon, and it's the new gamers that are coming in that we're really counting here. That's why I'm saying you're cheating. Like, don't count me. Yes, for me, yes, that makes sense, but not for I'm not the average gamer today, dude. I'm not the average Steam gamer today. Like, most Steam gamers don't play the games I play. The majority of Steam games, they play all these smaller indie and all those type of games that fall within that 18,000. They're no longer making AAA or as many AAA games that are focused on me in terms of generally, if you look at the offering of the games. Am I lying when I say that?
Well, yeah, because even an example that would be, let's say, live service games, right? Live service games probably had its audience like 5-7 years ago, whatever it was, and as time has gone by, we've seen a lot more live service games step up, right? To try to take on that mantle. But here's a problem: the people who are interested in playing these live service games, maybe they had 5 or 7 to pick from back in the days. And that 5 or 7 was enough for them to say, okay, this is fine. Now, those gamers who are interested in live service games, for example, I'm just obviously spitballing here. Maybe there isn't 7 live service games anymore. Now there's 40. They don't have time for 40.
Yeah.
So in the end, someone has to lose. So there's too many games out there. Because I'll give you another example. When I was young, there's no way in hell.
More customers, don't you think?
There's more customers, but there's way too much supply though. Because
I think the only reason,
not every game being made is for like kids. Like the developers out there, like Flintlock is another example of a game that I played, and I thought it was a pretty decent game. And I thought to myself, like Flintlock and Immortals of Avium, if these games all released in 2016, 14, they would have done better. People would have played them more. But now there's just too much competition, and there's too many games that you actually have to be either really good at managing your budget, or your game has to be unique enough to kind of pull away from the noise.
So let me ask you a question: why were those games not released in 2014?
Because more influx of cash went into the video game market, so you had developers making more games.
Yes. So you now had
these are investors.
No, but like not just investors. I'm just talking about like generally what you're saying is that gaming has become more democratized, so there's more voices, and not a lot of those voices land on the client's ears, unfortunately that's the side effect of democracy. Is you're gonna get more product out there, which is great, but not all the product is gonna get to the freaking the ears or the eyes that need to see the product to be able to buy it. How is it a bad thing?
No one says it's a bad thing. I'm just saying it's the reality of the
You have
situation.
more creators. Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. Is that like if that's how if he's basically saying that, well, you know what, the game has changed. Neither is good or bad, but we're in a situation where if you're gonna put out a game, you need to be a little bit more thoughtful into how you market and position your game to be able to get the eyes that you need on it. However, unlike back in 2014, you have more means and mediums. Like there's so many games I'm following right now that are from smaller developers that are marketing their own games and not relying on Steam or the platform to market the game. So by the time the game gets to Steam, it has the eyes that it needs.
Well done. Have you seen that? Have you seen that thing on Twitter where it was all like, I couldn't afford $1 million for the Game Awards, so here's my trailer.
Yes, a lot of the guys that are doing that I follow, and they make smaller games.
Every single all those games were none of those were smaller games. Some of them look like AA games. That's
but they're from smaller studios in terms of like footprint. We're not talking about like how they look in design. I'm talking about in terms of like their budgets and who's making the games. It's unknown studios. It's smaller creators. It's people out of obscurity. These are not games being made by Capcom or bigger developers or even bigger indie developers that we're aware of. These are guys that this is their first game and they want to put it out there and they think they have a hit. And what they're doing is they're using early access and early marketing to sort of get the word out before they actually put the game out and, you know, and then put everything behind it. They want to know that it's developed some sort of like a following on social media.
But I think you might be missing my point here. I'm saying that those games, we would have known about them in 2013, 14, 15, 16.
How?
Because they would have got coverage.
How?
They would have got coverage.
No, those games wouldn't even have been funded because of the fact that the models were not there in 2014, 2015 to fund those.
No. But games like that. I mean, obviously we're talking about those games now, but like a game that was releasing like that, we would have known about.
Okay, so let me give you an example. Let me give you a very straight, and this is an analogy in another business. So if you are a SoundCloud, which again came around like the late or around the 2020s. Do you think if you were a SoundCloud artist trying to release an album in 2014, you would have had the platform to be able to do that, to market your album and your sound, and you would have gotten that traction in 2014, 2013?
No.
Why?
SoundCloud. I mean, I don't know much about SoundCloud to be honest with you, but I think.
No, I'm saying if you're an indie guy that's basically making music.
Back then.
On your Garage Band on your Mac in 2014, do you have as much chance as a guy releasing music from his Garage Band in 2025? Like in terms of like your music being visible.
You could okay, fine. I give you that analogy. Just like music,
yes,
100%. You can make you can make music easier. It'd be harder for
in 2014.
I think it's harder for you to potentially blow up. It's tricky because TikTok has kind of changed it a little bit, but because there's so much people making music now, it's hard for you to stand out.
So again, I'm asking, my question is not standing out today. I'm saying, would you been able to make an album in 2014 the same way you can? And in terms of like, putting your music out there, it's one thing for the music to sell. I'm talking just about like putting the music out there. In 2014, was it easier to put music out there than it is in 2025?
It's easier in 2025.
So why? Well, why does it change?
Tools. The tools are easier.
Exactly, precisely. So this is why you get more games, because the tools are more readily available. There's a wider pool of people willing to listen to your stuff. If you look at like how Apple Music and all these platforms, like, was there Spotify in 2014? I don't even think so.
Mm-hmm.
Like the only way that you could put out music in 2014 was the traditional methods, which is you need an album that needs to be published by a studio or something like that. There, you couldn't just put music. I don't know. Okay, yeah, maybe Apple Music was already there, but even putting music on Apple Music, there were much more. And I don't know how it worked back then, but I'm assuming there were more obstacles in being able to do that than doing it in 2025.
Yeah, I agree.
And that works exactly the same way in gaming. Don't you think?
No, I agree, but it still doesn't change the fact that there's way more options now, and there's not enough ears to listen to everything. At least with music, the key thing here is you can at least say to yourself like, well, the investment in terms of quality beats and all that kind of stuff, it's limited, and people are more willing to go on Spotify, for example, and go to the section that's like, oh, play our game now. Sorry, not play our game now, but like, listen to random tracks, and it's not really a commitment. It's like 1 minute, 2 minute songs, whatever it may be. Like that's easy enough, right? However, with the game industry, you're not getting that kind of like. I mean, well, Game Pass could have been that fix, right? Where you could just go to like browse new games and then you could find, hidden gems from artists. True, but we don't have that. So that's number one. What we do have is a buy to play model. No one's gonna want to buy a random game from a random developer that they don't know anything about. Like that's just not the way these things really work. Music is different.
So how did Electro get out there? How did Bellatra and Schedule 1 get out there, though?
Sometimes your game can your game can be a hit.
Stop. Let's just leave it tight. Like, because again, like I think we could. There's a lot of like either argument. I think there's a lot of anecdotal information, and like we could put facts and we can throw facts back and forth. But the bottom line is, I just feel that like even if you wanted to make a game today, you have a better chance of putting your game out there, which is why you have 18,000 games being released. Is because now everybody can put a game out there, which is not a bad thing. But like again, yes, I disagree with you with one fundamental point, and I'm surprised that you're not bringing this in. That there's more gamers now. Why are we not focusing on the fact that there's more gamers that are more likely to pick up?
Depends on the quality of the gamers that are out there. It does.
What do you mean quality? Oh, well, I like that point. Let's focus on that. What do you mean quality of gamers?
Because most of the gamers now are just casuals. They're just spending like this new influx of gamers. They're just spending one game a year.
Okay, fair enough. I'll stop you there again and say, okay, cool. So you're saying that there's a lot of casuals, but haven't we lamented in the past that casuals are what drive platforms like PlayStation, Xbox, and Nintendo, and PC?
True. Yes.
So
why is this a bad thing? I don't know what you think this is. Like you ain't catching me on nothing. You don't live on my camera.
No, I'm not trying to catch you. I'm just asking you questions. I'm like, but like,
I know you're asking, and I know you're asking, but what I'm trying to say is that, like, yeah, this is true, but what I'm saying is true. Most people are buying COD.
I agree with you.
So when you talk about when I say the quality of the gamer, I'm saying that the LTV, the lifetime value you're gonna get from a specific gamer is different. Ushers as a gamer is gonna buy multiple games and multiple things like this, right?
Yeah,
however,
absolutely.
The casual gamers that makes up the majority are not buying games like Ushers. So when you say things like, well, there's a billion gamers and there's all these games being made, well, that's not, yeah, sure, but that doesn't still check out because those players were never going to buy these games in the first place.
Okay, so Tai, and I'm asking you a question here. So you're saying that those gamers are never going to buy, but haven't we lamented in the past that market is not big enough? You need to concentrate on the 3.3 billion that are the casuals. Those are the ones that drive the overall sales, whether you're in consoles, whether you're in PC, whether you're in mobile. Those are the ones that drive most of the sales.
No, they don't drive most of the sales.
Huh?
I mean, maybe the live service.
Okay, I like that. So I'll pick a market and you explain to me. In console gaming, you're saying casuals don't drive most of the sales.
No, they do. My bad, yeah. Assassin's Creed, you want to call them casuals. Well.
In PC gaming, you're saying casuals don't drive most of the sales.
Nah, they probably do as well, yeah.
Then how? Then like, I'm confused, bro. Like, then what are we saying?
Yeah, I know you're confused.
Like, I'm really confused. Like, this is not making sense. Make it make sense to me, bro.
Yeah.
How, Tai? Okay. Let's move on. So I wanted to play
you
this.
don't sound you're wrong. Like I'm trying to say that you're incorrect.
Okay. Oh, okay. Do you want to elaborate on how I'm incorrect?
Okay, let's be fair on this.
Such a funny guy. But okay, go ahead.
Back in the day,
Elaborate how I'm incorrect.
you can make an additional 100 strategy games and tell yourself like, well, there's 1 billion gamers now, and back in 15 years ago there was only 200 million, so therefore we can probably there's a market enough for strategy games. I'm telling you, no, that market isn't increasing as much as you think. The increase from the gaming community is coming from people who want to play FIFA, COD, and all these kind of casual like games. Don't think that because there is now 2 billion gamers out there, that all of a sudden your strategy game is going to increase tenfold. Why would you think that? You're assuming these new people want to play a strategy game? No, they do not.
Okay.
And we know this because
Can I stop you there?
when Nintendo brought in all these people with the Wii, they weren't going out to go buy BioShock. They were buying Wii Sports, Wii Fit, Wii Music, and all these other games. Does this make sense to you?
You're such a funny guy. So let me stop you there. Let's go back. Let's go back to that part of a strategy game. So you're making a strategy game for what? For the billions of casuals. Is that what you're making a strategy game for?
No, you're not. That's what I'm telling you. You don't do that. Yeah, you're gonna get screwed up.
So who's competing with you in your strategy game? If your marketing is very specific, and your positioning of your game is very specific.
What do you mean is competing with you in the strategy game?
No, I'm saying because we're talking about like you saying, and again, unless I'm misunderstanding your argument, you're saying that your game has less chances today because there's 18,000 games on Steam, and there's only 3.3 billion people buying games, but your game has less of a chance of hitting the right audience today than it did in 2014. If you
had let's take no Flintlock, let's take what's this game called, Immortals of Avium. If Immortals of Avium was a game that wasn't coming out in 2024 2023 and it was potentially coming out in, let's say, 2015 or 2014, the game does better. But
no,
now,
it doesn't.
Why?
I disagree with you.
Why?
Like, my man, did you know about Immortals of Avium before it came out?
Yeah, I knew about it. Yeah.
Were you excited about it?
It looked good. It looked interesting.
What did you like about Immortals of Avium? What would have gotten you into Immortals of Avium as a game?
It looked different. The whole first.
Okay,
person.
what was different about it? What was different about it enough for you to
First person magic action combat, first person shooter magic game.
Okay, and how many? Okay, so you're interested because it's a first person magic shooter game, right?
Mm-hmm.
And how many people have been interested in those kind of games within the same, if we say 5-year period?
Not many.
How many games of that type have been released within that period, same 5-year period?
Not many.
Okay. And do you think the game was marketed enough for people to care and to be invested in? Okay, we have a magic game that's a first-person shooter.
The game was over budget. It was over budget. That's actually what killed the game. Like, I think the game.
Yeah, well, the game was expensive to make. That's what I'm saying. I get that.
Yeah,
but I'm saying, was it appealing enough for people to care?
Not to match the budget, no.
I think the game would have failed in 2014, just like it did in 2021 or 2020.
Well, I think it had a better chance in 2014 or 15, 16, because I think the competition isn't as tight. Well, okay. Obviously, there's going to be some years where it is going to be tight.
Okay,
I think making chances is like because there's so much options and so many good games now in in 2023, 2024, 2025, whatever you want to call it, that you need to be a bit more unique and special to get people's attention.
But there's more gamers. There's also more gamers. There's 3.3.
Yeah,
we went from 400 million gamers to 3.3 billion.
But these are not high quality gamers.
What do you mean high quality? You keep saying that. Like, what do you mean high quality?
These are casual gamers who play, like, who just buy FIFA and they're done.
This guy just said, like, FIFA players are not high quality gamers.
They're not high quality. I mean, they're high quality to EA because they do microtransactions. But they're not the high quality kind of gamer that they're gonna spend it.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah, and Xbox knows, or whatever, they know that, like, yeah, if Ushers buys our console, he's gonna buy like 10 games in 1 year. But like, I have like friends who bought the Series S, which was a loss of Microsoft, right? And these guys have only bought 2 games since the Series S. Those consoles sold are losses for Microsoft. Because if you're selling it at €200 less, you need them to spend. You need them to make up that money, right? But if they only spent about 2 games since they purchased it, and those games were FIFA and NBA, that means altogether, rather than having minus 200 sold, it's probably maybe minus 160. It's still a loss.
But like, Ty, the bottom line is, according to Microsoft's strategy, is that whatever we can lose, or whatever we lose from like the console buying audience that buy physical copies or subscribe to specific genres, we can make that up in cloud. We can make that up in mobile, because that's where the 3.3 billion that we're trying to target for is, versus the 200 million to 500 million that will buy consoles.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that the future? Doesn't that justify the 18,000 games on Steam?
Yeah, I mean, it can be the future, but I mean, they're learning the hard way that, like, just because you're putting a game on mobile phone, aka Death Stranding, aka Resident Evil, those players ain't gonna buy it. That's not what they want. So these additional players are not the gamers that are gonna, like, satisfy your gross margins, because you have to make a game that they want, aka touchscreen, a quick to play game, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, those kind of games.
But I'm confused. But isn't this the growth that Xbox is advocating for, that you are also a proponent of?
Yeah, but that growth doesn't mean you're making those kind of games. You just need to. Sorry, that growth doesn't mean that your core audience or the core games you make is going to transfer into this new growth audience. There's going to be a crossover for sure. Sure. If you're known as a shooter box, for example, right? And out of nowhere, there's a new way.
Like Xbox.
Yeah. So let's say that makes up 20 million people in your ecosystem. Yep. Now you heard that, like, oh, the industry is growing. These new kids they're coming out now, and they're gonna start buying consoles. Yeah, but these new kids want to play not shooter games. They want to play, aka Genshin Impact, Hoyoverse, and all these kind of games. The growth in the industry is not going to be the same growth that it's not going to transfer to you, because the new growth is a different audience.
Okay. But, like, this is now saying, well, when we went from 2D to 3D, all of a sudden you had GoldenEye becoming more successful on Nintendo than, say, Donkey Kong.
But unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on how you see it, we're now a mature market. We know exactly what 2D is, 3D is. There's nothing else you can do. You can't. There's no 4D to come in to save anybody. There's no new Wii remote control. There's no Kinect device.
Yeah, but even then, those things were not new. Like, even in 19... Well, I mean, to be fair, because you use that term, like, again, when you say mature market, I always say to you that term you have to use very loosely, because the market was just as mature in 1995.
No, it wasn't.
Or let me say 1998. There were no new genres.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't mature.
Okay, so explain to me how it wasn't. What do we have now that they didn't have back then in terms of
Do
genres?
you know what a mature market is? Like definition wise, like Google it and tell me what.
Well, I know what like we've discussed, but like what you've told me is like what Phil Spencer has said, and I disagree with that definition because that definition doesn't define any sort of maturity. But please give me your definition of what mature market is.
Let me Google it. A mature market is a market that has reached a state of equilibrium, characterized by slow growth, stability, and lack of significant innovation. Which is, I think, what I said to you last time we spoke about this significant innovation. There's nothing new that's happening here. We know who the users are. We know who Ushers is. We know who Ty is.
Okay.
We know who Rachie is. And we know that no one's coming to save us. AKA these new kids coming up. They don't seem to care about consoles. They're primarily playing on PC, mobile phones. And they're very platform agnostic. They think it's different. So again, in 30, 40 years time, when these new kids are of the age to spend and they don't go buy your device because you've thought or you've assumed that they're going to do this, you're incorrect. So once again, even though it's a growth, even though these new kids coming in is a growth market, it doesn't apply to you because you're not giving them what they want, right?
Okay, so I'll ask you a question. So when do you think that the gaming, and I've asked you this before, when do you think gaming became a mature market? And I hate the way that Phil Spencer uses it because Phil Spencer is full of shit. And most of the time he uses phrases interchangeably just to suit the message that he's trying to put out there. So when did you think gaming became a mature market? And when do you think, two questions, sorry, it's a two-part question. When do you think it became a mature market and what defined that maturity?
I would say around the PS4, Xbox One era. That's when it became more or less solidified.
Okay, fair enough.
And then
so what
the
defined
Series X and S, that further solidified it as well. What solidified that to me was the lack of innovation. The Kinect came with some innovation, didn't work. The Wii U came out, flopped. And PlayStation to the iToy and the Move Control flopped. Everybody demanded what they wanted as usual, which was, we want this controller, we want the way this game plays. So you don't really see any innovations here. The actual market itself for the console space was more or less defined. The PC space was defined, handheld space was defined. Everybody knew what was up. Games were all pretty much the same now. So you saw PS4 games just basically improve on graphics. And there was no new gameplay mechanic. Call of Duty was Call of Duty. Everyone uses the same two-stick system.
Okay.
Turn. The PS4 is basically just a better iteration of the PS3.
Okay, but I'm just trying to understand, like, what was the actual innovation? Because I can say the PS3 was just a better version of the PS2, and the 360 was just a better version of the Xbox One.
Yeah, but I think what we saw. Yes, so I would argue games. I would argue that
what is the evolution?
I would argue that the PS3, you could even say it was things like become more mature there. I don't know if it was really defined though what the console space was in terms of growth. I think people they say expected things to grow. It's when you understand they're like, okay, now it's not there's no more growth within the markets. Like it's not who the players are.
I'm trying to understand what the growth is. What do you mean by growth? I surely you're not talking about genres because genres have existed since 1989, including first-person shooter, RPG. Like all those genres have always existed. So I'm trying to ascertain when is it that they became mature.
Okay, look. Here's just a definition here. One of them is price competition. As product differentiation diminishes, differentiation, aka the products are more or less similar. So now, as we're seeing, the PlayStation, they all use AMD. There's not remember the PS3 was very different, right? PS3 was very different from
correct.
From the
I agree with you.
But now the PS4 and the Xbox One, similar. Series X and S, similar. So one of the points is price competition. As product differentiation diminishes, competition often shifts to pricing strategies, leading to tighter profit margins. So it's saying that the way you're trying to gain new consumers or whatever it is, It's just prices, all that kind of stuff. Like your device isn't really offering anything innovative or new, right? So that's one thing. Next one is limited innovation. There is often a lack of new product development or innovation as existing products meet the needs of the majority of the consumers. Companies may introduce variations or extensions of existing products to stimulate interest. There is nothing new happening in the gaming space that's like, oh wow, this is great.
Okay, versus when? This is my question to you. Versus when? When was there like?
Well, I mean, there's no like hard limits. It's like a soft, it's a soft development. So, for example, when the NES came out and it had the shoulder buttons, when the N64 came out and the controller had the joystick, that changed gaming, right? The trigger buttons, the shoulder buttons, all these things changed. So the N64 changed this. The PS2 did this as well. The PS3 and controllers more or less pretty much the same. Xbox as well, pretty much the same. You had the internet, remember the Wi-Fi.
Yeah, but like controllers have been more or less the same. But like Ty, like again, all the things that you're saying, like all I'm saying is like in terms of significance, controllers have always been more or less the same in the 90s, and they had a gradual evolution into the late 90s and the 2000s. But you're still working with the same conventions. What I'm saying to you, what are these conventions that have moved or changed the market so significantly that we can say now it's a mature market versus what it was? Because all this stuff happened before and had like all this stuff just gradually happens over and over again. But there's mature markets suggest to me that we're at the end of the market.
Wait, hold on. I just want to see what Richard and these guys are saying because I want to see if they understand me or if Oshos is just strolling. But I'm not familiar. Richie just says a market becomes mature when people stop bullying you for enjoying it. Okay.
I agree with Richie.
Fair enough. Well, okay.
But like, what I'm saying to you is that
I guess that's my question then. What is a mature market to you?
No, like I don't comply to that because I think it's a silly term. Because what do you mean the market is mature when your market is completely like every time the market is continuously evolving?
When you say silly term, this is a actual like economic term, right?
Yes, economic terms can be silly. Nothing just because somebody says something is an economic term, Ty, it doesn't mean that it holds some holier than thou. You can still challenge it and say, I think that's a stupid idea.
Why do you think this definition was created?
Okay, fine. Okay, cool. I won't go into your definition because then we'll fight about what defines.
Why do you think?
So fair enough. So all I'm asking you is that for you to be able to say to me that, okay, cool, give me a parallel example to gaming where you can say that this is the journey of a mature market. Because in gaming, clearly we don't have one.
What do you mean? An example, like for other industries, like.
Well, give me another industry where you can say something evolved to maturity. Cars. Do you think cars are in the mature market right now?
Yo, wait.
TVs. Do you think TVs are in the mature market right now?
Indie Game Awards disqualifies Clear Obscura Expedition 33 due to generation AI usage. Boom.
Yeah.
No, I just wanted to say that. Carry on.
Okay. Like again, like is AI? What about AI? Let's talk about AI. So does AI constitute a mature market? Because there was no AI 10 years ago. So we can say this market is mature, but we're starting to use AI. How is it mature when we're exploring new tools and new ways to make games? Like this is why I think Phil Spencer is full of shit. And that's why I hate that term, because Phil Spencer used that term to justify the dumbass decisions he's making for Xbox. That's my like why I think whenever I hear an executive like Phil Spencer talk about mature market, they are misrepresenting the term. I understand fundamentally what mature market means. It just means that everything going forward is much more modern.
You haven't told us what a mature market is. I'm asking you, what is?
Because I didn't define mature market. I was asking you to define it.
No. But when Phil Spencer says it's a mature market,
I'm trying to understand it based on your definition.
When Phil Spencer says it's a mature market and you call bullshit, well, what is your definition?
I call bullshit, yes. Because he's not defined what a mature market is. He's the one that's claiming it's a mature market. He needs to prove to me that it's a mature market.
No. Wait, stop. He can't prove to you what a mature market is if you don't have a
Why?
definition of what it is.
But like, why? Like, I didn't bring it up. Why do I have to prove it and have a definition?
Wait. This needs to make sense. If somebody says, the sky is like blue, and I say,
yes,
no, it's not blue, and somebody says, what color do you think it is? I don't know. Is it blue? I don't know what blue is. Wait, define what blue is. I don't know what blue is. Okay, how can you say the sky isn't blue if you don't?
So why did you say the sky was blue in the first place? I'm not the one that said the sky was blue.
No, he made the statement. You questioned it and said, no, it's not blue.
Yes.
And everyone said, okay, what color is it? I don't know.
So what is he basing? Okay, very simple type. So what is Phil Spencer basing on his? What is he?
Forget about Phil Spencer. You can't say something.
No, but like we're talking about.
No, wait, you can't say something.
No. Let's not get into semantics. Let's get back into what like you basing like your whole mature market argument is based on what Phil Spencer said, right?
No, it wasn't. I never.
Okay, what is it based on? So how did you get to the conclusion that we're in a mature market?
To be clear, I never even knew Phil Spencer said mature market. This is my first time actually hearing.
He did say that. That was the whole term. The first time I heard this thing of like, well, we're in a mature market was from Phil Spencer, when he was trying to justify why Xbox cannot do better anymore, and why he's not attempting to grow Xbox within the console industry. His whole thing was that, well, we're in a mature market. We basically know where all the limits are right now, and we know that. And I'm like, you're talking bullshit.
No, I just did a Google there. There's nothing that he said about we're in the mature market. He says we're not going to grow the market to its 1,000 consoles. That's the most I can see. He never said.
What did you Google? What was your Google? What did you?
I think the Phil Spencer say mature market.
On what?
Wait.
You just say.
Yeah, all it's saying is he's saying he
did say it. I have the recording. Like I could, like I'll pull it up in our next show.
We're not going to grow the market 1,000 consoles, but the term mature market. Yo, I was just tripping again, guys.
No, dude, like because like you've not defined what this mature market is.
Fuzzy says Google says the car market has been mature since at least the 1970s.
There we go. So, what defines that maturity?
Wait, a market. Rachie says a market becomes mature when people stop bullying for enjoying it. The rise of online console multiplayer in the 2000s was a massive change from what we had in the 90s, especially when talking about the markets. Can we talk about what is a mature market for photography? Google says the car market has been mature since at least the 1970s. A mature market is a Pornhub. It's because the console market user base hasn't grown much in a generation. That's why the brand.
Okay, so
other places.
So again, my AI says completely different. It says that he did say. It says in recent interviews and public appearances in 2024. 2025, Phil Spencer, CEO of Microsoft Gaming, has frequently addressed the idea that the console market specifically is stagnant and has plateaued. While he often frames the outlook for broader gaming as healthy, as he's made several key points regarding the maturity and the growth. So he's like, he said this. He's made.
No. To be clear, he didn't use the economic terms mature market.
Okay, let me actually Google that. Did he use the actual economic term? Because I remember him saying this.
No, he didn't. You tripping, bruh. Rachie and Fuzzy, like, do you guys think gaming is in a mature market?
And again, you've not defined this way. So if I'm wrong about Phil Spencer, then
no. But like you haven't defined what the term mature market is. You can't say something is wrong if you don't have a definition yourself.
But I didn't say that gaming was mature. I don't believe gaming is a mature market. I can define for you.
We can't. You know what you're doing here? We can't assess or critique your point because you won't give us a definition. You're just saying it's not a mature market. Okay, what is a mature market? I don't know.
Okay, for me, Very simple. Like my definition is very simple. A mature market is where you cannot. Very simple. If you have, like, for instance, you've developed the automobile or the car, right? The mature market is where you can no longer either reinvent or innovate that idea of the automobile. It is what it is. That is what you're getting. And on top of that, you can no longer grow the number of people that care about buying automobiles. In other words, you've hit a limit. So you only have 50,000 people interested in automobiles, and all 50,000, or maybe you've got 48,000 people that have automobiles. That is a mature market. There is no more growth. You've hit the growth ceiling. What I'm completely disagreeing with you is that, like, going from, like, for instance, a situation where
so to be clear, you're defining your definition of the mature market is when you hit the growth ceiling.
Yes, correct. You cannot grow the actual audience or the people, and you cannot innovate the actual product that you. There's no more innovations that you can create within that product that are going to make a significant difference to your customer.
Okay, so to be clear, the same economic term says growth, right? And it says innovation. So you are more or less defining a mature market so far. So when you say you don't like that definition, it's like you mean it's the same definition you just given.
Yeah, well, I mean, these are the actual. I'm looking at the actual explanations. Is that number one is the plateau of growth, so there's no more growth anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And then number two is market saturation. Number three is intense competition. Number four is consolidation. Number five is what you call it, is focus on efficiency, which are all things I've said. Like, these are all things that are still happening. We've not plateaued in terms of growth. Gamers are growing. The market is growing consistently by, like, millions of people. There is no market saturation. Like, what is the market saturation when it comes to gaming stuff? Like, has Sony sold all 500 possible consoles that can be sold? Intense competition. Like, this is the one I think is debatable. It's like, well,
key signs of a mature market is high penetration. That's one. That's when it's hard for somebody else to come
what's high penetration?
It's hard for somebody else to come in and compete. They're going to need a lot of investment.
So do you think that's Do you think that's true of gaming? When you have 18,000 developers making games?
I think we saw Google try to kind of come in a little bit. They ran off when they realized it was going to be that expensive. We saw Amazon, they ran off. We saw Netflix kind of try a little bit.
But that's console gaming specifically.
What do you mean?
It's not gaming as a whole.
Wait, just to be clear, do you think a new, let's say even PC, do you think that
we saw Epic come in and do well.
And do you know how much
we saw everyone creating.
Do you know how much Epic spent?
No. I'm not asking how much they spent, but we're saying they came in and they did well. How much did Google spend to get into?
See, you're missing the point. It says that it's massive scale and high penetration, which means that to get in and compete, it's going to cost you a shitload of money.
Okay.
Which is a turn off for a lot of investors.
It cost Epic a shitload of money to get into.
And if you were to ask AI, hey, was Epic's investments worth it, and all the time, all the games, all the exclusives that I tried to get, I would tell you no, it wasn't worth it.
Okay, you ask, because, like, why are they still doing it then? Like, why am I still getting free Epic games today?
Yeah, but you weren't getting but back then there was a whole lot more, and it was exclusive games, and it's very different now.
Yeah, but I mean, like, the service still exists and they're still making money.
Epic created.
I mean, we could say the same thing about Sony getting into consoles, that it was a ridiculous amount of money compared to Nintendo and Sega back in the day.
That was very different, though. It wasn't a mature market back then.
No, it's not very different. How is it very different?
Do you think it was cheaper for Sony to get into the console space back then than somebody else coming in now?
Adjusted from inflation, no, it wasn't. How much did it cost? Like, go look at how much it cost Sony to get into console gaming versus how much it cost Amazon to get into console gaming adjusted for inflation.
Ashika, what? Sorry.
No, I said like when you and again like for Google to get into console gaming. Sorry, not Amazon. Well, how much did it cost them versus Sony versus Microsoft?
Well, Sony probably spent more to get into console gaming than Google did.
Okay, so but then what's the metric then? What are we measuring? This chair just keeps sinking me down to the ground. I need a new chair. I'll wait for your answer, but again, like my whole point is I disagree with your whole take about mature. Like I think you really need to bring a very definitive answer as to what does that constitute and how is our market today mature versus any other period in gaming since I'll say since 1994. I think gaming has been mature for a very long time in terms of genres that you get, in terms of the type of customers that you think you have. You always had casuals, you always had hardcore, etc. So what is mature now?
The mature market definition?
Huh?
Are you using the mature market definition?
Based on what?
Like, what definition are you using for this?
I'm using my understanding of the definition based on what I just read now from.
Well, you see, because like Fuzzy is saying, it's because
it talks about like okay, Ty, very simple. It talks about four things, right? It talks about the plateau of growth, the market saturation, intense competition, consolidation, and focus on efficiency. What am I missing there?
Wait. Do you think? Okay, wait. Say it again. Okay, wait. Say the first one again.
It's plateau of growth, market saturation, intense competition, consolidation, and focus on efficiency.
Do you think everyone's focusing on efficiency right now?
Yes.
Okay, so we can take that.
You don't have a choice, otherwise you use money. Yes.
Okay, so we can take that off the box. Oh, what was the next one? Market consolidation.
What do you mean you can take that off the box?
I asked you for the definition of I asked you for the definition, and then you gave me 5 points. So give me one of the points. You said
that's what constitutes a mature market.
Okay, so efficiency. So I'm asking.
So why are we scratching focus on efficiency off the box?
Because I'm trying to say, is gaming in a mature market share? That you gave me your definition, and then the first point, one of the first points you said was everyone's focusing on efficiency, right? So I'm asking you, are the game publishers or whatever, is the game industry focused on efficiency?
Okay,
right?
Let me read the definition of that specific point. Because revenue isn't exploding, companies are focusing solely on more users. Oh, really? And start focusing on cutting costs and improving profit margins to keep investors happy. Is that what's happening? Yes. Okay,
so it does meet that definition then, at least that point.
Yes, it means that people are focusing on very.
Okay. So I'm just confused because Phil said it's a growth market. It's a mature market. You said no, it's not. He's lying. But first of all, we concluded he never said that. He never said it's a mature market. But let's say he did.
Okay,
now you're giving one of the definitions of what a mature market is, which is focused on efficiencies and cost cutting.
Yes.
And I'm asking you, is the industry doing that right now? And you said yes. Therefore, he is correct.
Okay, what do you mean he's correct? From whose perspective? I just want to understand.
What the definition of what a mature market is?
Well, I mean, is Nintendo saying that revenue isn't exploding?
Is Nintendo's revenue exploding?
Is Steam saying that revenue isn't exploding? These are significant players. He's talking like if Xbox is not doing great business, yes, absolutely, I agree for him. Because revenue isn't exploding, companies aren't focusing. So yeah, I mean, like,
is the industry as a whole more on the cost cutting and profit margin focus as a whole.
Well, let me ask you a question. When was the industry not on a cost cutting?
The industry went through a huge growth phase in 2017, 2018, 2019, and I think it was 2020 where they were like, okay, fuck, we need to start cost cutting. That's why we lost over 20 something.
No. But like, why was it in 2020 that you had like such a huge growth like margin? I mean, like that was all artificial.
Because investors all started throwing money at the freaking gaming companies, like thinking that this was.
Yeah, well, why did they do that from 2020?
No, because gaming was outpacing the stock market. It was a smart investment.
And then why was that happening?
Because live service games came in and everyone thought they could make money from it.
Okay, cool. Let me do this. I'll concede that first point.
Yeah, of course you will.
Okay, you're right.
Damn straight.
Okay, so consolidation. Smaller companies struggle to survive. Higher competition leading to larger companies buying them up.
I mean, did we see acquisitions galore happen recently?
But like, you are the one that's purporting that there's 18,000 games out there that are not being bought. Who's buying those other developers of 18,000 games?
Why do you think everything has to be purchased? No, like, what are you talking about?
No, but like what I'm saying to you is that like, well, there's consolidation amongst very specific companies, but like if consolidation was the order of the day, then you wouldn't get 18,000 games. You would literally get all the games coming from EA but that's not the case. In other words, once you have consolidation, you should have fewer products out there. Am I lying?
No, it's not about fewer products. Why would it be fewer products?
It says smaller companies struggle to survive. So if you have 18,000 people making games, does that tell you that smaller companies are struggling to survive in making games? Isn't the logical thinking here is that if smaller companies are struggling to make games, you have less companies making games and you have less game output?
So I'm just trying to wrap my head around that.
No, just think about that. Okay, it says intense competition. Since there's no new...
Go on, sir.
Okay. No, I was saying I was moving on to the next point because the whole like consolidation part of it doesn't make any sense because again you have the bigger companies swallowing each other up, but that's not stopping the smaller games from being released because they're not being swallowed up by everybody. And this is a point that you made. Mind you, this is a point that you made. Whenever Microsoft buys a big studio,
you're assuming it's gonna stop. Why would they stop the smaller games when like I'm just gonna literally go on Unreal Engine and create
okay. But like your whole point was that there's too many games. There's 18,000 games out there.
Yeah, well,
so if there's 18,000 games out there,
what does the market mature market though?
Okay, I'll explain to you very simply. So if you're saying that the market is mature, it means that all the smaller companies have been swallowed up by bigger companies. So you don't have smaller companies making games. That's a mature market. It's when all the record companies own all the artists and you can't get any more art out there.
No, because I could literally download a free beat right now, use my microphone that I have right here, and put out a song on YouTube. There's my music video.
Can you download that on Apple iTunes?
Yeah, you can put it on Spotify. You can put songs on Spotify. I've done it before.
So then that's not a mature market.
Are you saying the music industry is not a mature market?
I'm telling you that that's the definition here. Like, I'm not asking because now you are very focused on saying that, well, when we talk about efficiency, we're going to focus on gaming. I'm saying to you in gaming, this is the definition. Smaller companies struggle to survive, higher competition leading to larger companies absorbing them. I'm saying to you that that's not the case if you have 18,000 games being made. That means that you have far smaller studios still making games and putting out.
Yeah, but like, I just, no. Sony isn't going to buy.
Why you say no?
15,000 studios. And that's Nintendo.
But the market is mature. Why do you have 15,000?
No. You're holding on to these definitions in a very crude, anal way. It doesn't like I'm not going to fit 100%, but there's going to be some.
But like, Tai, that's what you held me through in the previous point.
Yeah, because that was
on
100%
focusing on
correct.
market efficiency.
That was 100% correct.
No, dude. But this is what you're doing here. Like, then we're arguing semantics.
You know what? Let's give me that W. Let's give me that W. Okay.
Nah, bro.
1 for 1.
Like,
next point. 1 for 1.
So the next one is intense competition. Since there's no new customers left to find, companies only grow by taking customers away from their rivals. This often leads to price wars, heavy discounting, and massive market spend.
Did that happen?
No, you explained to me. Like, did that happen?
No, I mean that did happen, but now Xbox is bowed out, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, Xbox is gone now. They lost.
Yeah, but like, does that comply? Like it says here, most people want the product already. Sorry, they already own it in the console world. This means that everyone wants an Xbox or a PlayStation and already have one. Is that the case? Does everyone that wants an Xbox or a PlayStation already have one?
I mean, that's what Phil Spencer said, isn't it? So, like, everyone who wants an Xbox already pretty much got it. Everyone who wants a PlayStation pretty much got it. And the only way we can actually come.
But is that no? I'm not asking what Phil Spencer said. I'm asking, is that factual?
That everyone who wants a PlayStation got one. Yeah. And now the only way
but
to
then why did PlayStation sell 62% more PlayStations in the last November quarter? Even though it was down, I mean, like, it means that they just did better in the year before.
Because there's still competition in the sense that, like,
whereas Xbox was 39% below that, and the year before that they were also 39% below that. So no one was buying what they were selling, but people were still buying PlayStation hand over fist. Same with Nintendo. I'm just asking the questions, bro. Then, okay, let's move on to the next point while you would think about that. And then it says market saturations. Most people who want the product already own it. In the console space would mean that everybody, okay, we read this. Plateau of growth. Most obvious signs, sales no longer grow by 20 to 30% a year. Instead, they grow at a rate similar to the overall economy, which is 2 to 3%, which again, we know this is false for gaming. Like, gaming continues to grow by ridiculous margins year on year. It's not growing by 2 to 3%.
I mean, what's the ridiculous margin growth? What are you talking about? Is like 20%? 15%?
Well, it says you're not going to see 20 to 30%. You're going to see something like 2 to 3%. Let me just Google, like, what was the gaming growth last year alone. Google Gemini. Gaming growth in 2025. So, year on year, 2025 alone, gaming grew by 7.5%. And again, this varies for the different platforms. PC gaming grew by 10%, mobile gaming grew by 7.7%, console gaming grew by 4.2%. Total overall market growth was about 7.5%.
Okay.
Just saying. Anyways, I wanted to move on to this video.
I can't even like fight you on this because like,
was running out of money.
Huh?
No, go on.
Oh,
like, it's real funny.
If you can, like, I would love to have this. This.
No, because for me, my own even definitions of this whole macho market is very different. It's one like I have my own definition of here, which is based on.
And they've got nothing to do with Phil Spencer.
Yeah, I don't know why you brought up Phil Spencer. I never even knew he said this.
Because the first time we had this debate was about Phil Spencer and
No, I said it
Xbox.
was
Looking
I said it was a
one thing.
mature market. I never said Phil Spencer.
No, but like it might not have been you, but like the argument. The first time I heard that whole term, mature market, was referring to Phil Spencer's comments about the console industry. Maybe that's why I grouped the two.
Maybe that's why, yeah. But you see, my own because remember last time we spoke about this, I focused on a few things, which was one, slow growth, limited innovation, and that was pretty much it. Like I was focused on limited innovation. Like we know who the players are, we know we know what kind of
Yes, I
genre
remember
it is.
you did say that.
There's nothing else that's really going on here. So I think to me that was the definition. Stability, you can put that in there as well. Price competition, because remember everything is similar now.
No, like look, if you can motivate for those points, I'm happy to hear that conversation to say, okay, cool. Well, this is what my definition of market maturity is. I'm happy to hear those definitions and then be like, okay, cool. So these are the three things. Let me go and research and look at like if those pillars meet your understanding of what market maturity is for the game. Oh.
What happened?
No, I was trying to eat a chocolate and then the fucking thing melted because of the heat.
Go on, play the video you wanted to play.
Anyways, let's play this and I just want to give everybody context. Fuzzy Reichi, so this is you know this guy. This is the Nvidia guy. And he was just talking about how Sega almost became $1 trillion company, which very few people know about.
I was in a contract with Sega, and I owed them this game console. And if that contract would have been canceled, we'd be dead. We would have vaporized instantly.
So that game console is the Dreamcast. So the Dreamcast, if you remember, if you had a Dreamcast, it had a 3D FX chip. The company that was originally contracted to make the chip was Nvidia, and they failed. Nvidia, $5 trillion Nvidia failed to make the chip for Sega.
And so I went to Japan and I explained to the CEO of Sega, Yuri Majori, really great man. I said, listen, I've got some bad news for you. And the technology that we promised you doesn't work. And second, we shouldn't finish your contract because we'd waste all your money and you would have something that doesn't work. And I recommend you find another partner to build your game console. Whoa. And so I'm terribly sorry that we've set you back. And third, even though I'm asking you to let me out of the contract, I still need the money. Because if you didn't give me the money, we'd vaporize overnight. And so I explained it to him humbly, honestly. I gave him the background. I explained to him why the technology doesn't work, why we thought it was going to work, why it doesn't work. And I asked him to convert the last $5 million to complete the contract, to give us that money as an investment instead. And he said, but it's very likely your company will go out of business, even with my investment. And it was completely true. And here's a pile of competitors doing it right. What are the chances that giving NVIDIA $5 million? 0%. You do the math, it's 0%. $5 million was an amount of money to Sega at the time. I told him that if you invested that $5 million in us, it is most likely to be lost. But if you didn't invest that money, we'd be out of business. He went off and thought about it for a couple of days and came back and said, we'll do it.
Wow. Yeah. What are your thoughts, Tyre?
And when did Sega cash out in the investment? Because clearly they did invest, right?
Yeah, but when he went to approach the dude, they cut the investment because they needed the money for the Dreamcast.
So they took it back out.
Yep, they took the investment, and he said he told him, "Take your investment back because we're gonna lose you more money."
Oh wow.
Because they weren't sure what they were doing at the time. Like they were trying things out. They had no showcase idea of like, well, this is gonna work. And that's how it went down, man.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So I really just wanted to share that with everyone. Like, Sega could have been $1 trillion company. Fuzzy says you're echoing. Are you hearing echo on your side? Is there an echo?
Yeah. When I talk.
I don't know. Like, this is like, and the thing is, I don't know how many times I've changed my sound, but like, I'll see if I can't fix it over the weekend. But we're almost done. We're 2:34. Tai, is there any subject that you wanted to cover that we didn't cover today?
No. Just to touch on the mature market then. You can say it's not as clarity it is, or the best we can do here is, well, there is elements of the mature markets. And then in that case, you can act accordingly towards it. I think we tick a lot of boxes in the mature market space. Everything might not be fully there, but all things are fully there. But again, this is one of those cases where you want to pretend that something isn't happening, then you're gonna go out of business.
Like, give me an example. Who was pretending and went out of business?
No. If you're not looking at the future, how the market's going,
yeah,
you're gonna go out of business.
So, like who? Give me an example. Who went out of business because they weren't looking at the market?
We're talking about mature market. I'm looking at mature market. That if you're a company that doesn't look like Blockbuster,
I understand what you're saying. I hear what you're saying, but I'm asking you, give me an example of a company that's done that, and you don't want.
Blockbuster, is it?
Give me an example. What did Blockbuster do?
They ran out of business because they didn't base.
Okay, that's fair enough. You can. Well, I mean, like Blockbuster, like was the last surviving company from all the VHS companies, so it's sort of like I don't blame Blockbuster. I blame the whole industry. The whole industry.
No. But that's the point, because if you're a VHS company. And you're seeing that this thing called DVDs is taking off, and it's better. I'll give an example. Nintendo. They said we don't want to rock with DVDs. We want to do cartridges. Everyone said, the future is this. They said, nah, we're gonna do what we want to do. Did that fuck up in the end? Yeah, it did.
No, it fucked Nintendo. Absolutely. Yeah, but what about Sega? Okay, wait. But Sega went CDs.
We're not gonna do that. We're still gonna do cartridges.
Yeah.
Did we fuck up?
No, all I'm saying is that but Sega went the CD route, and they got fucked up even faster. So there's no trend.
What do you mean there's no trend? Oh my god.
What's the trend? Like
contributing reasons why certain companies fail. And there's reasons other companies fail. You can't say that.
But what was the reason for Sega?
You can't say that every company who uses VHS uses CD-ROMs will never fail.
No, but what I'm saying to you, Sega was a successful company, more successful than Sony in gaming. They also failed, but they didn't use cartridges. So cartridges can't be the focal point here. They failed. They were the first ones to use CDs even before. Well, they were the first ones to use CDs even before Sony. So, and Nintendo went on to do better with cartridges.
What do you mean?
Nintendo went to do better than Sega during that era and Sega had CDs.
So there's contributing factors, right?
And more games than the N64.
Okay, wait, just be clear. If the GameCube used cartridges, and the Wii used cartridges, and the Wii U, are you saying that Nintendo would have sold the same?
No, I'm asking you. No. I'm asking you specifically about the era of the PlayStation, the Sega Saturn, and the N64. And I'm saying to you that Nintendo's failure had very little to do, or was one of the main things that made them fail. But the cartridges were not the primary reason why they failed. And I'm saying because Sega
I never
used
said it was the primary
cartridges.
reason.
Sorry.
Never said it was the primary reason, though.
Okay, so but like you said, like everyone was using CDs. Sega
I
used
give an
CDs and they
example
did worse
that.
than
No, I give an
Nintendo.
example that if you're somebody, you said give an example of a company that didn't want to adapt whatever. And I was like, I don't know. I said Blockbuster's wrong. Then I thought about CDs as well. Like, hey, listen, if you're using cartridges, also VHS, tapes or whatever it is, and you're seeing that hey, people are using these things called DVDs, or people are using these things called MP3s. And as a company, you're saying, well, we want to better technology, we don't want to adapt, we still want to stick with our VHS, nonsense. You're going to go out of
Which
this.
is like Nintendo choosing cartridges, right?
Yeah, but Nintendo had a lot going for them because the market hadn't fully changed, right? Because remember, the key thing here.
What about Sega?
What about Sega? What's Sega have to do with this? What about Sega?
Sega, because of the fact, like, we're talking about technology specifically. So, what did Nintendo have going for it over Sony coming into the market and
Nintendo
introducing
had
CDs?
IPs. They had a good the Dolphin and N64 was pretty good. They had a good controller. They had a good legacy games.
They had what?
Like for example, if Kendrick said, the only way you can listen to my album is through vinyl, he's gonna get hurt. But because it's Kendrick, he's still gonna sell.
Okay, what about Sega?
What about them? There's many reasons why the Dreamcast failed. It doesn't have to
Okay, give me the reasons you think why Sony.
If the Dreamcast used cartridges, the fail would have been faster.
No, but that's not what I'm asking you. I'm saying they used CDs, but they didn't succeed like Sony. So clearly, Sony's technology was not the reason why they lost.
No, it wasn't the only reason. This contributed.
What was the reason?
That's like saying the only reason why.
No, I just want to understand from your perspective.
Wait. That's like saying the only reason why the PlayStation 1 did well was because you used CDs. Those other things was cheap as well, right?
Okay, why did the PlayStation 1 succeed in your opinion?
PlayStation 1 succeeded because Sony was able to port all the developers. First of all, it's easier to, I believe, to develop for, number one. Number two, the CDs allow developers to work easier and store games there faster. Sony ported all these third-party developers who weren't happy with how Nintendo was doing things. Sony gave them timed exclusive deals with the developers as well, so they funded them. The PlayStation, I believe, was marketed 20 times more than any other platform. When Sega dropped the Sega Saturn or whatever it was, Sony was willing to take huge heavy losses on the PlayStation 1, whereas Sega and Nintendo were in that kind of position. And Sony was also able to market the device as like the adult console, grown-up thing. Ushers, who was 8 years old, 9 years old, was cool with Nintendo, but now he was a teenager. He was horny, raunchy, and Sony was willing to provide that. Where Nintendo was saying, Nintendo told more to come back, hey, no blood in our game, turn it to green.
That was in the NES era. That was a different era.
Yeah, but no, but what I'm saying, so Nintendo was seen as a kiddie platform. Sony marketed.
Okay, so what you're saying is that Sony did a whole bunch of things. So yeah, okay, so it's never 1 or 2 or 5 or 10. So it's never 5 reasons, right? It's always like 10, 20 different reasons why.
In the same way we're talking about what happened with Xbox, right? And we asked them,
I agree.
What was the reason? And they said, well, this is 30%, this is 20%, this is 40%.
I agree.
Like for example, now, Xbox made all their games exclusive. Guess what? It was still fail because the game sucked. But therefore, the games must be the actual game quality is one factor.
I agree.
Yeah. What are you debating?
No, I'm not debating. I just wanted you to clarify. Like, there's nothing wrong with clarifying. I'm not fighting with you. I just want you to clarify. So my points don't sound like I'm just grasping at straws. Like, I got to that because I was trying to understand what you were saying, where you were coming from. So thank you for clarifying.
You're doing a straw grab around there, bro. I know I'm still echoing.
I'm the only one.
System.
Tyre's still echoing. Okay, cool. But I know we're done. Like, I'll see. I'll go check out my system and see what is it that's causing the echo. But I have no idea. But I think in the future, we need to do a pre-test because all my sound equipment I've upgraded. Like, I've got a new camera, new mic. Everything is new. And the only problem is Windows and the fact that Windows needs so much calibration for you to get the shit that you want. So I'm sure that whatever is the issue, because last week I had issues with camera, but like this week the camera I got it down, so now it's just the audio. So we will figure it out. We'll figure it out, chat. But thank you, Fuzzy. Thank you, Raichi, for coming through. Taya, I don't think there's anything else on my agenda in terms of us covering. But thank you for coming through. It's always awesome to have these conversations. I know you want to do another podcast. Please let us know when that is. I'll let my community know. Because I made sure that we didn't really touch on any of the stuff that you want to talk about. Because I want us to have that conversation, on your podcast. And then we can, so you can just guide that conversation for us. So Taya, what's up next for you?
Nothing much. I'm really busy this last couple of weeks before the new year hits. I have to do some edits for birthday parties and stuff like that, and Christmas. So I'm just gonna be playing. I got one of the virtual glasses. The those glasses that.
Yeah.
The unfortunately doesn't really work on my phone. Once I'm working on my PC. It's working on my old phones. I'm gonna test it out one more time, and that'll be that. But like, they're pretty cool. I'm gonna be careless, so that's unfortunate. But yeah, apart from that, I'm doing just working basically.
Cool. So, are we gonna do this podcast on your channel?
Yeah.
When do you want to do it? Because I'm off. Like, I'm on holiday. Like, from this Friday, I'm off. So let me know when, and then we'll hook that up and let's do that.
Yeah. I'll talk to you in the background. I won't pick the day. I kind of need to finish editing.
Okay, cool. Guys, thank you for joining us. Fuzzy, Raichi, everyone else that did join, because I did notice that quite a few people came in earlier and left. Always awesome to have you. And yeah, man, that's a wrap. Thank you for joining the Player Circle, and we will see you next time. And goodbye and Godspeed.